What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Spawn Point Podcast, episode number 5. My favorite number. We're finally there. Man, we just keeps going.
We're there.
Games keep happening. We keep talking about them. We got
They sure do.
We got a super fucking fun episode today. This is like, I feel like the first episode that feels almost like a normal episode, right? All the fun, like crazy shit at the beginning of the show that we did, you know, with the first few episodes, it's kind of subsided, and we got a wide variety of games today, which I think is I think is going to make for an incredible show. It's going to be more normal. So this is what you can kind of expect going forward as far as the games we talk about. I think it's going to be a fun episode. But as always, with me, Jason. How you doing, man? How was your week?
Hey, buddies. My week was fine. So we did our little Nintendo Direct reaction. What was that, on Wednesday?
Thursday.
Or Thursday. So I mentioned last week, you know, that I'd been kind of under the weather, and you could probably hear that it's not quite there yet, but it's a hell of a lot better than it was.
It is.
So finally on Friday after work, I was like, dude, I'm not getting better. So I went to the doctor, and sure enough, I tested positive for strep throat. So I got some medicine, starting to feel a little bit better. So I'm just hoping I can make it through this without my voice going away more at the end. But I think it'll be okay. Got some tea in me with some honey. So yeah, how about yours? How was your week?
Before I get into my week, Jason powered through with strep throat for the Nintendo Direct conversation, so you know how dedicated he is in the project. So let's fucking go. Love to see that.
I am on it. I did not want to miss it.
My week was so fucking like lame. I can't even tell you if I can differentiate between Monday or Friday this week. It's just kind of all the same. To go into like, I guess, it's our show. We're letter carriers, and I'm on a T6 hold down, which is a swinger hold down, not that swinger, but a swing between 5 routes. And my weekend was on 423. I'm sure our coworkers know. I'm sure Jason knows. It was a fucking horribly long, mounted, completely long walking route. It's horrible. And Friday, I had to get out in 8 hours, so I barely even got into the route on Friday, and then I could work 10 yesterday, and I just had double mail volume, and it was a fucking nightmare. So I feel like shit going into Monday because I'm fucking Brandon Justin on Monday, and it was totally unintentional.
Ooh.
Totally unintentional, but I did what I could, so I feel bad about that. Other than that, that's the only thing of note that happened this week for me. Everything else kind of blurred together. So I don't have much else to say about my week. It was pretty lame-o, to be honest. But we played some games, so that's always good.
We definitely played some games. That is a high point of our week for sure. So, so last week, I think towards the end of our episode, you had asked me like what the pull for open world games was for me, because you just didn't quite get it, and you were hoping for some sort of answer to why maybe somebody else would enjoy open world games as opposed to you not loving them. And I want to back up even a little bit more than that. So I have never done anything like this, like a podcast or anything. I've never gotten in front of a camera and talked to people. I didn't even have one of those jobs where, like, during COVID, you know, you were doing like video calls and all that kind of stuff. I've never done anything like that. But the weird thing is like I've played in bands since I was like 18, so I've like been up on stages and singing, and that is like nothing. So I thought I could just step into this and it'd be no problem. It's a different beast. You know, stepping it. Yes, it's just two buds talking, but something gets in my head where I'm just like, bah, trying to figure. I'm getting better. I feel like I'm getting more comfortable doing this. But after our last episode, after you had asked me that, and I had some time to think on it, I re-listened to the episode, and I was like, man, I can do better than that for sure. So anyway, to get back to it, you know, your question about why I like open world games, and I did mention that maybe not quite as much as I used to. New ones that have been coming out, they have to do something just a little bit different to kind of pull me in. Open world games have become a thing. They're trying to make every franchise an open world nowadays, and it doesn't work with everything. But anyway, I think what I was trying to get to for the answer to that question was like a sense of discovery.
Mm.
I like to just go out and just find stuff. I feel in a good open world game, I feel like I'm the only one that's seeing this. Like I love like finding something and going, ooh, I don't know if anybody else has found this. I know that's not true. Everybody else probably does, but I like in that moment, in that world, feeling like I'm discovering something that maybe nobody else has. So that was one part of the answer that I just didn't feel like I got across very well. And then I kind of touched on this, but I did a terrible job. One of the other things I like about them is creating my own path
Mm-hmm.
in a linear game, which there's nothing wrong with those. The developer kind of wants you to go, in this path. It makes sense. That's how it's set up. That's how the story is going to progress. That's how you're going to get the upgrades that you want. I like making my own path. I like that a developer made a game and just went, I don't know, do whatever you want. There's just something about that with me that I love to I like to forge my own path, do it my own way. Yeah, and just make those discoveries on my own. I mean, that's also why open world games take me like 300 hours. But
yeah,
I think that's kind of what I was trying to get to last week. I know that was kind of long-winded, but
no, I think that's a great answer. And again, the only reason those questions for me are going to continue to come because I want to love every game genre out there. There are just some, just like with everybody, I guess, and I'm having a hard time accepting the fact that it may just not be for me, which is hard when you're talking open world games because, as you mentioned, everything's getting made in an open world now. So it's like, well, what the shit? I kind of have to adapt or die type of situation. So I don't mean anything offensive by my questions. I'm genuinely asking just because I want to understand so I can maybe approach the games with a different mindset to be able to get into them more. I've just never really had any success with that in the past. If you watch the video version, my fucking mic arm just busted. So that when I was making ridiculous faces during his discussion, I was trying to figure out what the hell I was gonna do. So I got to hold my mic all episode.
I was trying not to look at you. I'm like, don't look at him. I'm gonna laugh.
Yeah, we're in a bit of a pickle here, so we'll make it work.
Oh man.
Well, I just wasn't expecting that today, but it's all right. Anyways, so yeah, that's cool. And again, like I said, guys, I ask questions just generally out of curiosity, not like I'm not trying to. I don't even know where I'm going with that. I just genuinely want to know so I can maybe approach games differently, to find enjoyment in them where I can't under normal circumstances. So that's the whole point of that question. But thank you for answering it. I appreciate that response. I'll keep trying them and I'll keep bailing out of them every 5 hours until, something happens. It's just how it is for me. Okay, let's go ahead and dive into the housekeeping. So, if you're watching on YouTube, consider liking, subscribing, and leaving us a comment down below. All that stuff helps to get our show out to more people. We upload a mix of original content and live podcast clips to that channel every single day. There's always something new on there for you guys, so go ahead and check us out there. If you're watching on Spotify, consider leaving us a rating. That will help boost our show in the algorithm on Spotify. You can also leave a comment for us there if you want to get a hold of us. If you're an audio-only listener, you can rate our show on Apple and Amazon Podcasts as well. All that stuff means the world to us. Costs you nothing, but helps get our show out to a larger audience, which is, of course, our primary goal of creating this content in the first place, other than just having a friend to actually be able to talk games about. I should say. So consider doing all that for us. We would really appreciate it. We do have a live stream channel, twitch.tv/SpawnPoint Network. That channel is kind of a mishmash right now of me kind of popping on when I got some time to do some stuff. Jason will join that project soon enough.
I'll get there.
Yep, soon enough he'll be doing some streams, and we'll do some streams together. We got a lot of plans for that in the future. We just are starting that up, getting things moving in the right direction, so go follow us on Twitch. If you want to contact us, but you do not use social media, you can send us an email, spawnpointnetwork@outlook.com. That is spawnpointnetwork@outlook.com. What's the email, Jason?
spawnpointnetwork@outlook.com.
You're goddamn right it is. Go ahead and send us emails over there. We check that often. We will certainly be able to address your comments, concerns, criticisms from that as well. And if you do use social media, Follow us on Blue Sky, X, Facebook, TikTok, all the fun stuff. We're on all of them. Spawn Point
All
Network. X is Spawn Point CJ because network was taken. But you can find us there if you search. You can find us there if you search for us. Other than that, that is the housekeeping. Oh no, forgetting about the Discord.
Short and sweet. Oh,
join the Discord. Get your Founders title. There's 9 available Founders titles left, so go ahead and swing on in there. Grab those. We want to talk games in there. We had a nice RuneScape conversation in there. We'll talk any game you want to talk about. So go head over there. Join the community. Love to have you. Other than that, that's it for housekeeping.
Cool.
That's the porch,
Short
I guess.
and sweet.
Well, shit. Anything else you want to cover before we kind of get into the meat?
I don't think so. I think I addressed what I wanted to talk about already. Let's talk some games.
Let's talk some games. So, actually, Jason, you know what? Did you end up rolling credits on Big Hops?
I knew you were going to ask that. Not yet.
Okay.
I'm at the very end, and I'm going to finish it. I was playing it for a couple hours yesterday morning, and it's getting to where it's getting hard to put more time into it. Dude, I want it to be done.
I got there. Here,
and
we're going into spoilers for just a second, guys. So if you don't want to hear this, totally understandable. We're just going to dive into it. I like when podcasters talk spoilers. I'm biased in that way.
Yeah.
I know I don't want to ruin it for you guys, but it's fucking Big Hops. It's not like it's the number 1 game of the year or anything. So we're going to go into it. Where are you exactly right now? I know that we talked about Big Hops yesterday. You were in the kind of the void area, kind of like the final spot. Did you end up doing anything with the castle and interacting with that yet, or where are you at in particular?
I don't know, because I think I'm about right there. So like in between biomes, you kind of go back to like void area, and it's a little platforming area, and then you talk to this disc guy who's like sending you out on all these errands to collect these dark drips or whatever. So I got through that, and then I got to the very last biome, which was like the Shattered Mountain or something.
Yep.
So I've been running around in there for a little while, and you got to do a couple things for a couple different NPCs. And now I'm to where I have to collect teeth to put into some dragon's mouth to open. Yeah. So I think, yeah. So, and they're all really, god damn, dude.
I don't know if I want to. I'm not going to go any further. There's another whole segment after the Shattered Mountain. So there's 3 biomes, but like I thought when I got through the 3rd biome, I was like, oh, the game's over. Keeps going. There's a I'm not going to spoil it. But
okay. Well, I looked at my play clock, and it was at 11 and a half hours.
They said it's 10 to 15, so you're in the ballpark.
All right. God, it's which is kind of impressive, I guess, for like, this small team and this small idea of a frog getting taken away from his home and stuff. But dude, there's a lot of game here.
It's almost too bloated. It's almost too bloated. It's too much. Yeah, it's almost bloated.
There's almost too much game. And I'm just the type of game that it is, you feel like it should be shorter. So every time you turn around, you think I got to be getting close to the end, which I'm close, but it sounds like I still got a bit more to do.
So you're going to get done with, I just want you to be prepared because this pissed me off when I got there. So you do the Shattered Mountain, and then there's like another, it changes the, fuck it, not going to say anything about it. You'll have it done by this week if you put in, you're going to be trending probably more towards the 15-hour mark.
Oh my God.
Here,
okay. I'm going to do it. I put this much time into it already. I'm going to finish it.
Just fucking power through at this point. Just get
That's
done.
What I've been trying to do.
Yeah, just fucking don't even like go off the beaten path. You don't even need to. I'm just saying I don't think there's any value. If you don't do everything, if you don't 100% complete it, which sounds like you've already given up on that, just fucking go. You're not going to miss anything. Just fucking beeline to the end of the game. Because
all right.
That's
what I've been doing. Like I gave up on so the dark drips are like the big kind of thing that you're supposed to be collecting, but there's also all these smaller ones, And after you collect so many of those, you can turn them into a dark drip.
Yeah.
For a while, I was kind of like, and the game makes this little kind of noise when you're close to one of those small things.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to, like, as I was running through something, if I heard that noise, I kind of look around to see where one is. Dude, that noise doesn't even do anything to me. I just keep going.
Here's the other thing with this. Do you care if I give you just a little piece that's going to go into the next segment?
I really don't care.
It's probably going to piss you off.
No,
all that hard work that you did to get your badges and shit has no impact on the end of the game. The last segment.
Awesome.
So don't even bother collecting anymore. You're not going to need them. You're not going to use them.
I gave up on those too. So.
Yeah. So, anyways, Big Hops will continue. Maybe next episode if Jason finally rules correct. It's going to be very short. Yeah. I mean, the more we talk about it, the more it's like, God damn, that game is bloated. But I fucking chugged. I fucking through that fucking thing somehow. So, anyways, that's fine. But
have you mentioned Big Hops since the first episode, or was that the second one where we talked about the?
No, Big Hops was on our first episode. We discussed it. January release. It's probably made an appearance in every episode of the show.
Of all games,
that
is not the one I thought it would be.
All the advertising for that game on this show, man. We deserve a little cut. That's all right.
I know we do. Jesus.
Yeah, we'll wrap up Big Hops next week, maybe. Did you play any more 2XKL?
Yeah, Negative.
Yeah, no, me either. That game stinks. All right. Follow up from me. Well, two things. First thing, Highguard again. So I don't have footage. I just want to bring that game back up again because that game is amazing. That game is so much fun. I am so disappointed that the community is there. It's actually starting to shift a little bit more positive. Surprisingly. But they did go in and add 5v5, which is something I mentioned that I would like to see. They did do that. It does increase the chaotic nature of the game. Maybe a little too much, though. So there's a good middle ground. You can either play a 5v5 or 3v3, but I actually think the pacing of the 3v3 mode feels a little better. It's a little slower, but allows you to be more tactical. They also pushed a new update out to the game this week that added a new character already. So they're really kind of they're putting a good focus on this game. I'm happy to see that. I don't think it's going to be killed off. I just wanted to bring it up again because I have continued to play it, and I really think that game is very, very good if you just give it a little bit of time and jump into it and understand that there's a little bit of a learning curve. The skill floor of that game is certainly higher than it is for most FPS games, with all the objectives on the map and all the different things that you kind of have to keep in the back of your mind while you're playing through the game. And I think that equates to the massive fallout off of players that we saw upon the release of the game, the 100,000 down to 9,000 or whatever. I think that's just because people did not give the game enough time to reach the floor to be able to actually get better at the game. There's a lot of factors. I just urge you guys to try it. I really think it's good. I think it's got a very bright future despite all the criticism. It's a game that I'm going to continue to play. I've stopped playing multiplayer shooters over the past 2 or 3 years, and this game, for whatever reason, has brought me back into it, and I've just been loving it. It's been an awesome time to pop in and play. So I just wanted to keep kind of praising that game. I know it's the unpopular opinion. I made a personal video about it and kind of got whatever. It doesn't matter. People,
it doesn't matter.
If you have the opposing opinion of the internet, you get bullshit. So I did there, but I'm still going to champion this game. I think it's a lot of fun. So there you go.
I just want to say that I'm so glad to hear that you like it. I think I mentioned that this isn't. I used to play the shit out of this type of stuff too. This online stuff. I mean, the older I get, one, I was never great at it. Excuse me, and I've only gotten worse.
Yeah.
So I just have kind of given up on this online stuff. I just know I don't have the skills that I used to. So, but I'm so glad to hear that you're really into this. I think that's awesome. That is not what I thought I was going to hear from you.
Yeah, no,
after you started playing this one.
It's a good conversation point because it proves that this show is not biased. We're not going to be biased by the general community at whole. If there's something that I enjoy that people don't, I will have no issue addressing that I enjoy it. I'm not going to follow the crowd Jason's the exact same way. So we will champion what we champion regardless of what everyone else thinks.
Yeah.
That's going to set us apart.
Yeah.
I think this show is unique for a lot of reasons. But again, I just, I really commit. If you guys have any interest in this, definitely check it out. That's the only point I wanted to make with High Guard.
Yeah, for sure.
Moving on from High Guard, I talked about Legend of Dragoon on the first episode. Legend of Dragoon is no longer in my list of games to play. It just wasn't matching my lifestyle. I wasn't able to play it as much as I wanted to. Essentially, the loop was I would play the game for an hour, and then I would not be able to play the game again for 2 weeks because I was playing something else or just too busy. And then by the time I got back to the game, I was confused. So then I spent my hour session figuring out what the hell I was doing, which I finally would catch back up. And as soon as I caught back up, I had to call it a night, and then I dropped it, and the same cycle kept repeating over and over and over again. So unfortunately, that's just it's been demoted back to backlog status. I don't see myself really ever going back to it. Unfortunately, it's a game I wanted to get through just for the history perspective. Not really gonna happen. I don't think any. Unfortunately, so that one's dead for me. If you were looking forward to that, I apologize. That's kind of where I'm at.
There's a lot of games out there.
Absolutely.
I don't think it'll be too missed.
Nope. That's fine. Anyways, we got some games to talk about. Right. We're going to go ahead and get rolling right into it. First game of the week. Jason was very excited to talk about this one, so let's do it.
I may have hyped this one up just a little bit. Too much. But so lately I've been playing Grid Legends that just released on the Switch 2. It came out on January 29th. It's been out for a while. I think 2020. Yeah. No.
It was
2022.
Okay.
2022 is when this originally came out, and I skipped it. I play the crap out of Grid Motorsport. This one came out, and honestly, they say don't judge a book by its cover. I did that with this one. I saw the attempt of making some sort of story. I saw the pictures of the racers and stuff on the cover. I'm like, this is not what I thought Grid was. I skipped it. I probably shouldn't have, but I'm glad that I did at this point because now I get to play this version. So it's a Codemasters game. So, and it was published by EA. And then this version on the Switch 2 was ported by Feral Interactive, which they've done a lot of other ports. They're good porters. So, Grid Legends is another Simcade arcade, more on the arcade style racer. So Grid Motorsport played pretty well on the regular Switch. Switch isn't the main place you go for racing games, but I still enjoy them and I like my Switch too. So, but this one, at least how it plays, would not have been possible on the original Switch. It's got too much going on. And one of the things that's really cool about this version too is this is one of the first ones I need to when I send these, I need to up this. The footage doesn't. It almost looks like it's running at 30. I need to when I edit my footage, get you because this game runs smooth.
Okay,
it is a very smooth 60 frames per second. So I don't know if when I use my editing software, if it's cutting it down. But anyway, but the reason I say that is because there is a bunch of customization options as far as the optimization modes in this. There is graphics, there is performance, there's balanced, and then there's battery saver. And I was like, what in the hell? So what I ended up doing was putting it on balanced because I barely noticed the difference between graphics and balance, maybe a couple shadows and stuff like that, but it instantly bumped the FPS up to 60. And it's hard to play a racing game at 30 anymore. It's got to be at least 60.
Very hard, yeah. Very hard.
That I thought was pretty cool. That they really gave the options to play it the way you want to play. So let me just jump into the story. There's a story mode in this, and this is what turned me off originally. It's called Driven to Glory, and the cutscenes are all live action. So they actually got actors to play the parts of these racers in this story. It's pretty bad. It's not necessary. I don't know. It's just the acting is fine. It's a little over the top. Obviously, you have like this main rival that's like like the bad guy of the game. His performance it's over the top to where it's silly. I I get that they wanted to do something a little different with this one. It does kind of, I will say, kind of keep you engaged enough that you're like, yeah, the acting and stuff is bad, but then you go into these races and it does kind of put in your head like, oh, that douchebag's in that car in front of me, and I need to, like, take him down. So it works enough, as it is. But my cat is playing with my blinds and it's driving me nuts. But yeah, the story mode, there's over 250 events that take place in this. I do want to touch on real quick. So in the story mode, the other thing that I was like, this is so unrealistic. Every race, so like you're starting at the beginning of this struggling team season, and then every race, you're basically driving in a totally different type of vehicle. So like you start in these like GT cars, then you're racing these off-road cars, then you're racing these open wheel cars. I'm like, I get that it's just to show you all the different type of vehicles that are in this, but it's so like you wouldn't do this in like a season. You're not in a race car driver doesn't drive every different
Discipline.
type of vehicle.
Right.
There is. So I thought that was kind of silly, but yeah, it's really fun. It's definitely more arcadey than the on the Simcade side. Also, the difficulty is like, well, I know we talked about this before. I know how to play racing games, but I had to bump this up to expert. Like,
too easy.
It's too easy. There's like, I don't remember if they use like the easy, medium, hard. I think it's like beginner, amateur, professional, expert, and then extreme, which doesn't really fit the rest of them. But I was playing on professional. I had bumped it up to expert. I probably could even go to extreme. I don't know, but even on expert, I'm winning most of these races, even the story mode, and there's a full like career mode, which the career mode is more like you jump into one style of race and you go through like a whole series in that type of vehicle. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's like 9 or 10 different race events or race styles that you can jump into. And that feels a little bit more not realistic, but like how you'd actually do a racing season out of. So, but yeah, Grid Legends on Switch 2 runs surprisingly well and with very little graphical compromise. What I saw, like, what's that, Digital Foundry? They're like, they really dig into like the
Digital Foundry,
the inner workings of this stuff. They compared it to, they said it was like better than running on PS4, but just a little bit less than PS5. But even those guys were like, this is surprisingly good.
Yeah, man.
Racing game on Switch too. So
the footage looks really good.
I haven't beaten it yet. I mean, these racing games, if you're really going to everything, I mean, these can last a long time. So I'm gonna keep plugging away at this one. Yeah, it's a ton of fun.
Racing games aren't really games you go into like beat. Like, have you ever played the mainline Forza games? Those games are fucking 200 plus hours long.
Oh yeah,
they are ridiculously long. But anyway, yeah, this from the video. If you're not watching the video version, we're referring to the video. We do have gameplay running on screen, but this looks really, really good. I'm not blaming you. I'm just talking about the video. I'm very, very surprised. The lighting looks great. It looks like the water texture is very well done. Who's the porterhouse for this game?
Feral Interactive.
Feral Interactive. Okay, they did a fantastic job, it looks like. I mean, they did a
great job.
Looks great. So you mentioned there was different settings for basically ways to run the game. Did you have to make a lot of adjustments to your specific game, or was it just pretty seamless? You just picked. There's just a list that you can choose. Can you go into like each individual and adjust things, or is it just based on the settings that are available to you?
It's basically based on the settings. So you open the options menu and then you go to the visual tab, and then it basically spells out for you like graphics mode will target the best graphics at a 30 FPS range. Yep, terrible. Balanced is targeting 60 with a slight downgrade in graphical. What they show on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
There is performance, which I think, I could be wrong, but I think in docked, you can run this at 120 in performance mode, but you definitely see the downgrade. In the graphics.
Sure.
And then there's battery saver, which is just kind of like performance, but even more downgraded.
Okay.
So, but balance is what all this footage is, and I went back and forth between graphics and balanced. I knew I wasn't going to play on graphics because I hate 30 FPS. But I did not see a drastic change between balanced and graphics, but I definitely saw the change between balanced and performance.
Absolutely.
That's why I stuck with the balanced.
So there's a lot of people that are nitpicky on 3060. You can really tell in racing more than like any other genre.
Oh, yeah.
That's definitely something that's good. I'm glad they have that in there. So that answers that question. As far as the story, you said it's pretty cringy. Are we talking like Need for Speed cringe levels of cringe, or just like clearly they're trying to take it more serious than they should, or what kind of cringe are we talking about here?
Right. Less cringy than some of the Need for Speed stuff, but there's just something different about it being like actual actors. It's real actors performing these parts of these racers and stuff, and they do a pretty good job of like, they're standing in front of all their equipment, checking the specs on everything, and all that stuff is basic CG or computer generated. And then they're standing in this garage. What's up? They're standing in this garage, and they have a whole line of like cars and stuff behind them. They're standing probably in front of like a green screen or something, but it's done well enough. I mean, I can tell, but to a casual person, they might be like, "Oh, they did a good job of like putting these guys in front of race cars and stuff," even though they're really not. But it doesn't take itself too seriously, but serious enough that you do kind of care about what is happening. There's just a couple characters that you're like, oh my God, they were basically told to be like, you got to be over the top. You got to make people hate you, which I guess they succeeded, because I hate the main villain, or whatever you want to call him in this game. He's terrible. But one of the things I do want to touch on real quick about that I thought was funny. So, like I said, I've been smoking the competition in this. I really probably should go up to the highest difficulty. But you'll far and away come in first place, and then it'll go back to like the cutscene and be like, they're still struggling to keep up with the, I'm like, dude, I just smoked that guy,
right?
And so that kind of is a little bit annoying. And then like, there's this one thing that just happened. I'm close to the end of the story mode, and not to spoil it or anything, it's a racing game, but and it came out in 2022. But your teammate gets into this big accident and like is severely hurt, and the race that it happened in, she came in third.
Oh,
in the story. And then you go back to it and like, oh, there was a huge accident. I'm like, I get that you can't always like put that stuff in there, but I'm like, it just kind of pulls you out of it, the experience a little bit. Like, definitely. No, she was right behind me.
Yeah, damn. So, now, this Grid as a franchise is a really solid racing franchise. I've played. I think I played the first. I think they made Grid 2, Motorsport, and then Legends. I'm probably missing a couple entries, but this isn't the first Grid. They've always had a rival system, so I guess it doesn't really surprise me that they tried to formulate a story. But yeah, sounds a little strange. But that's kind of what you expect from a racing game story. They usually are kind of cheeks, but
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, I think this game looks dope. So you said the career mode locks you into what discipline?
That's what I was trying to. I can never think of that word.
How many disciplines are there in the game? I know you said there's G2 or GT cars. There's open wheel. There's trucks and things. And I have another question to follow up, but go ahead and try to answer that if you can.
Right. So yeah, there's GT, open wheel, trucks, tuner. There is specials, which is like kind of like Volkswagen Beetles and like Mini Coopers and stuff like that. I'm trying to think of the so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's like 8 to 10 of the primary ones, and then so they call this Grid Legends like deluxe or whatever. Yep. So in an update after the original one came out, they added Carnage, which is Destruction Derby. They added Drift, and then they added endurance mode. So on top of those original 8 to 10, there's another 3 underneath. There's a lot of content in this. There's a lot of different events and disciplines that you can race in, and they all control very differently. The controls in this are very good. All the cars have very different weight to them, which you'd expect, but it's done really well in this. And the drift mechanics. So I'm not a big I love watching drifting stuff. And some games do it better than others. The drifting mechanic in this is done like probably one of the best I've played, as far as feeling like you're really in control of the car performing these drifts. It feels like the car has weight to it, because a car does have weight to it, even in a drifting event. Those drivers have learned to, control the car as well as they can. And this just feels like the car's got weight to them, and you really got to push them into the corners to get that ass end out. But once you get it out, it's just very satisfying. The drift mechanics in this game.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think this game looks really, really tight. So they added trophy trucks in after the fact, so I'm assuming the trophy trucks are just racing on pavement. There's no off-road. Yeah.
There's no off-road.
Yeah, so that always seems like an odd inclusion for me, but I guess they do race.
It is.
They do race trucks on asphalt, so it's just weird.
They do.
Yeah, I think that I don't really have much else. I mean, I think Grid's a really cool series. I'm glad Switch 2 got a port, and it looks fantastic. I mean, the lighting is really, really nice, and you never know what to expect on the Switch 2. No offense, Switch 2 owners, but this looks like it's done incredibly well, all the way down to particle effects off the tires on a wet track like this stuff. So all that stuff looks really, really nice. You can pick this game up on Switch 2, $39.99. It looks like it's still $60 on major consoles, but it frequently drops down in price. Right now you can get the Steam version for $23, the deluxe edition. So a little bit cheaper, but it's not been marked down permanently. So very cool.
All right.
Game from 22 looks sick. Anything else you want to say about Grid Legends?
No, I mean, if you were skeptical on this one, if your primary console is your Switch 2, looking for a good racing game, but weren't sure if this was going to handle well, it handles very well.
Perfect.
So
I just want to apologize before I move on to the next thing. My fat ass cat Roscoe sat on my keyboard, so I probably got a desktop sound coming through on the audio. I'm sorry. He was sitting, he literally sat his fat ass right on there. So I'll try to edit it in post, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to. So if you hear any bing, bing, bing noises, that's why. Yeah, I'm so sorry. That makes me angry, but what can you do? He decided he needed to be up here. Anyway.
Cats, man.
Grid Legends, awesome. Thanks for covering that one, Jason. Yeah. We're going to stay on the racing theme for me. I've been playing something very different, and if you're watching the video feed, I apologize. This is the 2008 style of recording of me pointing my phone at my screen because I'm playing F-Zero GX on original hardware. I'm playing this on my GameCube, and this was always an intimidating game for me as a kid because I grew up with the GameCube. I had this game as a kid. I could not beat the first Grand Prix. This is one of the most challenging racing games I've ever got my hands on. So I revisited it as an adult. Game is still unbelievably fucking hard. I could not believe how hard this game still was. I was able to beat the first 2 Grand Prix, and I'm talking, they break these down into skill difficulty, so you have novice, standard, and expert. I'm talking novice. I can barely get through the second Grand Prix. This game is so brutally difficult, but as a kid, I didn't understand the mechanics, so to break that down a little bit further, it's F-Zero. It's a very, if you're unfamiliar with F-Zero, I don't know why you're watching a gaming podcast, but F-Zero is an old school racing game where you kind of take control of like a ship, basically. They're very, very fast racing games, and the mechanics around them is that you take damage throughout the race, and there's these repair pads along the track that you can go into to get your vehicle back up to a higher level of health so you don't blow up on the track, essentially. So F-Zero GX introduces turbo, or nitrous, so to speak, and this directly impacts your health. So when you use the nitrous throughout the race, it lowers your health bar, which just makes it, it's kind of a risk-reward strategy where, let's say you're falling behind, you can use nitrous, but you can only use so much before your car explodes. It's a very delicate balance, but it's fun to balance it out. It just adds a layer of depth and complexity to the game. But this game is like I said, fucking brutally hard. It's so fast paced. One wrong input and you're going into the wall and you're fucking down 75% of the health, and then you gotta like crawl your way to the repair station before you explode again. Just a wild, crazy arcade racing game that as an adult is still too fucking hard for me. I'm still gonna keep kind of messing around with it, but this game also has a story mode. You want to talk about cringy cutscenes? Holy fuck! This game is unbelievably cringy in the cutscenes. Like you got Falcon, Captain Falcon, and he's like trying to be this big dude. He's got fucking massive thighs and like little twiggy legs, but he's like having these weird dialogue exchanges with people and just doesn't really fit. And then you get into the story mode, like the competitions that are in the story, which this story is laid out horrendously, by the way, but you start the game and episode 1 is unlocked. You do episode 1, and then it kicks you out, gives you 15 tickets, and then it says you have to go into the item shop to buy the next episode. So you go in, you do the mission, kicks you out to the main menu. You got to back out of the story screen, go into the customization screen, go to the item shop, buy the next episode, go back into the main menu, go back to the story mode, go over to the second episode, launch the second episode, and keep in mind, this is a GameCube. There's loading screens at every junction. So you're fucking just waiting and loading forever. It's just the way games were made back then, but just weird as a modern gamer going back and playing through this. But game fucking cheats in the story mode too. So just miserable, honestly, time. There's no difficulty settings. I got to episode 3 before I was like, oh my god, I am so bad. And I don't exactly know how I can get better. I don't understand. The game fucking cheats. Like the second episode was an episode where you were racing for pinks against a guy on this desert course. And as you're going down the desert, boulders are falling off the cliffs and going into the track. And again, you're balancing your boost with your health, but if you hit the boulder, you blow up. So you can't boost the whole way, because if you do, you're going to end up blowing up and, making a mistake. And then if you hold your boost too long, he, of course, has boost in reserve at the end of the race where he will boost and pass you right at the finish line. So you have to balance it out. I actually learned that if I didn't use boost at all throughout the entirety of my run through of episode 2 and then just spammed boost at the end, I could beat him, but that was the only way to beat him. So there's like secrets to each episode, I think. Like episode 3, just kind of in the same line, is a very small circuit with no walls on the track. So if you fall, you game over. Loading screen, restart, loading screen, go. Terrible. But that is a race that is almost, I have not even figured out the secret to it. And either, I don't think there should be a secret to beating a fucking race. Like, it's just ridiculously difficult. it's a fun game to go back to, a game from my childhood, so I do get some nostalgia playing this again, but fucking hell, I thought I would be competent enough to play it as an adult, but apparently not. So, interesting game. Fuck, I don't know what else to say about it other than I've put a couple hours into it, but it's pretty cool, fucking brutal though. Really hard.
Yeah.
You played this at all?
So you're playing this on your GameCube, obviously, because you're recording footage from your phone.
Yep.
So this one is also on the GameCube
Switch 2.
Switch 2 app, whatever you want to call it. So
Virtual console.
Cameron's been talking about this one, so and I played this back in the day on my GameCube as well, but I did hop back into this just a little bit because once you started talking about it, I was like, I should give that one a shot. It is a great, fun racer. Very, very challenging. You were saying like I don't know what I can do to get better. I can't either. I mean,
it's
I'm playing the exact same way that you are. I think this game also got criticized back in the day for having like that rubber banding AI.
Oh my God, don't even get me started.
It's so bad. You finally get like a good run in, you're making those corners and everything, and you're like, dude, I'm finally out ahead. Now, it's never for very long.
No.
Because the AI will just slingshot past you.
Yeah, so you kind of have to figure out your own way to cheat the game, whether it's reserving boost for the right moment or, I mean, it is...
Yeah.
It is like an arcade port where the game fucking cheats you out of quarters. Like it's trying to cheat you out of time. It's very interesting. I will mention as well, mechanically, this game is pretty different from a lot of racers you'll see out there. You actually have to use the triggers to kind of tilt your car or your ship or whatever you want to call it. So for a tight corner, you don't necessarily have to brake, but you have to right trigger to tilt into the corner. Then you can turn, make a little bit of a sharper corner to get around there. I don't understand. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this game cheats, but
like you said though, you're flying ships, so your vehicle isn't actually touching the track. So that's kind of why they added that like feature to like, kind of pitch your vehicle a little bit on top of turning. I like that they did that. It makes sense that because your vehicle isn't touching the ground, but it just adds a little bit into the regular turn left and right that you do in most other games. So but yeah, just a fun but tough arcade game.
Very, very, very hard. I mean, I don't know. I like it, but Jesus Christ, like, let me have a little bit of fun in the story before you start cheating me out of fucking lives and shit. But I think the track design is cool for the fucking 15 tracks that I've raced on. I think there might only be 15 tracks in the game, honestly.
I don't know how many there are.
But yeah, this is a game you make one mistake and your whole fucking day is ruined, and then you got to restart and sit through a loading screen. I just thought I'd bring it up because I think it's interesting. I think it's cool. Yeah. It is available on Switch 2 through the Virtual Console if you want to try it out for yourself. Keep in mind, like we mentioned, incredibly difficult. $70 for the disc on GameCube if you're a collector of old school titles. I don't think I'm going to talk about this game anymore, to be honest. It's cool, but it's cool, but like, I'm not gonna break my GameCube controller. Okay, that thing's like 15 years old at this point, and if I keep playing it, that thing's gonna be across the room in a fucking pile of pieces. So
you just wanted to take a trip down memory lane and revisit this one.
Yeah, I thought, definitely competent enough to fucking race properly. No, not. And then it doesn't help with the frustration of loads through every millisecond of the game, but
that is cut down quite a bit on the Switch 2
I'm sure
GameCube app. Yeah. So yeah,
fun little one. Check it out if you're into retro stuff. This is the last F-Zero they made, I believe.
It is. F-Zero is a franchise that a lot of Nintendo fans want back, and it's just not happening anytime soon. It doesn't sound like. So
it's hard to think about a modern F-Zero game because it would almost have to be as challenging as this one is. I mean, the franchise has always been hard. I would say that F-Zero on SNES was a difficult game as well. Banger fucking music, though. Like, that game's got one of the best soundtracks in gaming history. Fucking Big Blue soundtrack on SNES. Fucks.
I still pop into F-Zero 99 from time to time.
So, I mean, it's a great series. Just brutally hard.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck's sakes. I played racing games for 30 years, and I'm still struggling with this one, but we can move on. I just thought I would touch on it, and it gets in line with yours. It's a racing game. This one's just a little bit older and a little bit way harder, especially if you're having trouble with your difficulty settings on Grid Legends. So, right. Yeah, F-Zero.
And I didn't really have any questions on this one because I've
played it.
I've played it. Just but it is fun.
Well, I'm glad that you said it's hard as well. It's not just me sucking
not just
ass at this game.
Not at all.
All right. Let's move on from there. That was a pretty short segment, but Jason and I both dove into the Pragmata demo. I played on PS5. He played on Switch 2. Jason, go ahead and tell him about Pragmata and give us your thoughts on it, and I'll follow up after you.
Yeah, so Pragmata, the demo came out. This is out pretty soon, though, right? Next month?
Yeah, that's what I understand. Yep, next month.
Okay, so this demo, it does kind of feel like a tech demo. I don't know if like this particular level that's in this is representative of what the game is going to be. It kind of just feels like it kind of guides you from one area to the other. There's a final boss, and then you can basically start it over with some upgrades. I didn't do that because I wanted to. I saw enough. It hooked me enough that I want to then experience the full release when it does finally come out. But you're on the moon essentially, and I don't know if you're trying to like get the power back online, and I don't really know too much about the story yet. I didn't dive too much into that, but you basically play as a human. What was his name?
Hugh Williams.
Hugh. So you play as Hugh, and then on traveling with you, essentially she climbs on your back is
Diana.
She's basically an android. What was her name again?
Diana. So she's an android that is basically with you. So Hugh does the third person shooting. She does the hacking. So once you aim down sights in this game, you have the ability to go in and hack the robot, basically that's attacking you, and it works better than I thought. I mean, it's very simple. You just use the face buttons to kind of basically move down a track, left and right, up and down. You want to get through all these nodes, and then you get to the end, and then the hack is over, and it basically disables like the armor or the protection that this robot has, and then you could do tons more damage to them before you take them down. So again, it's just a demo. There's a few different weapon types in this. You basically have a pistol with unlimited ammo. It just basically recharges, and then you can pick up these other weapons along the way. I don't really know what else to say. Yeah, I think from what you're saying, I might be more into this than you. I really enjoyed this demo. It is definitely a tech demo. If anything, we probably got like the gameplay vertical slice that happens before the title card pops, if anything, with this demo.
Right.
But I would not be surprised if this was just built as a display of the game, because the mix between third-person shooter and hacking has not been done before. They probably wanted to get that questions answered about that system, and that's the whole purpose of this demo, is just to be able to get hands on that so people understand what's going on here. I've heard a lot about Pragmata. I replaced the O with an A, call it Pragmata. I don't know why my brain does that.
Pragmata. Whatever.
I didn't hear much about this. I wasn't following it very closely. We watched the Nintendo Direct. This was showcased in the Direct, so we both just kind of decided to play the demo. It was on PS5 as well. And I fucking had a really good time with it. I meant to go back and do another playthrough. I didn't ever get around to it, unfortunately. Just shit came up, so I didn't get to use the new stuff. But I think the mechanics work really, really well. I'm very interested to see how this game does on higher difficulty settings. We were only given casual and standard in the demo, so we'll see what happens. I don't know exactly how that's going to work, but I think this game has really strong potential based on what was shown in this very short demo. Like I said, I think my run was 12 minutes and 10 seconds to get through it. It actually times it, and you can kind of like compete for faster times if you are into that sort of shit. But I was very, very intrigued, much more impressed than I even thought I would be. And this is definitely one I'm going to pick up day one based on the tech demo. Because I really enjoyed what they're doing here. Any game that kind of goes out of the norms and does something a little different, it's going to capture my attention. And also, Capcom has been making some bangers. So
they have not missed lately.
Yeah, so I have high hopes for this. We talked about this as well. I mean, this is a big conversation point when we talked about the Direct, but Jason had heard a lot of positivity about this game, and I had mentioned that on a podcast I heard there was some negative feedback on the game. I'm not gonna say the podcast, but the criticism came down to Diana. Basically, they thought it was weird that they kind of focused a lot of the attention on this little girl, and she has like adult length long hair. It was just really strange conversation. So I just wanted to bring that up because that whole negativity thing was fucking odd, and I don't agree with it at all.
Doesn't even sound relevant.
Yeah, well, they kind of pointed to the connection between Hugh and Diana as being kind of like a cringy dynamic, which I don't see at all. I'm actually very intrigued by the dynamic here.
Yeah, so am I.
So I just wanted to mention that because I made a comment that I had heard some negativity, but I find that to be completely irrelevant. I'm very interested to see how their relationship grows. Again, it's an android and a human. It's not like a human with a fucking child they're going to have some romance. I don't even understand the criticism.
I don't get it.
I think the dynamic is interesting enough that I'm absolutely willing to follow it. I will mention, to add some intricacy to the combat in this game, they do have like special nodes that you can pick up. So it's not just drag the thing to break the armor so you can do more damage. There is some nodes that will add some special effects to your attacks and stuff. So I am fucking pumped for this. I think this game looks cool. It definitely rocketed up my anticipation list because of this demo. I think it ran fantastic. It played fantastic. How did it run on Switch 2?
Oh, it ran very well.
Okay.
And I was going to mention this back when I was talking about, Grid Legends. I think we're getting to a point in like the Switch 2 where developers are starting to have a little bit more time. Nintendo was, they held back on the dev kits for the Switch 2, so people barely got them at all before the Switch 2 released, and then a lot of devs had to basically start, programming on the Switch 2 after it came out. So our first few Switch 2 games, they were fine, but I think it's only going to get better once developers actually get into the meat of the system and figure out how to utilize everything. So it ran really well on the Switch 2, and it looked fantastic. And I didn't mean to come off like I'm not looking forward to this, because I very much am. No, I know. I just demos. It's kind of a one and done. I like that they exist, but I don't like to spend too much time in them. I tend to get burnt out on games anyway, and I don't want to do that before the game, even comes out. And real quick on the Diana and Hugh relationship or connection. Yeah, I didn't find that cringy.
I didn't either.
Not all.
Not one bit at all.
The only thing I found kind of cringy was the boss fight at the end. There's like this. It's not really a quick time event. You just hit a button and you jump up onto it. And every time, I don't know if it was just my experience with this, but every time Hugh jumped up, he's like, "Take this."
Yeah.
I'm like,
ah. Yeah, come on, man. I had that too.
I hate that shit. But
also, the same animation I had to trigger that twice in my boss fight. And it was exactly the same, which that's nitpicky at best.
Yeah. I know.
But yes, I agree.
And then another.
Go ahead.
Yeah, another thing is I I hope that, I mean, I don't know how long they're saying this game is gonna take to beat, but I hope the hacking gets a little bit more. I like they can't do too much more because it's kind of happening in real time. So like they don't want them each hacking thing to take too long. I hope that the hacking doesn't uh kind of wear out its welcome. I mean, I don't think it will, but they'll do some stuff to like add different nodes and things like that to keep the hacking interesting throughout the game because you're basically hacking every enemy.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, you absolutely have to.
You have to.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
no
because
way
you
to
can't.
kill them
You
without
can
it.
barely cause damage to them if you don't. So that's my only, you know, I don't even want to call it a criticism, but
I think
I'm
that's
just
where the difficulty is going to come in, dude. I think the difficulty setting
right.
is going to directly affect the hacking stuff. But here's what I like that you're bringing that up. I don't necessarily care to have a very complex hacking system. I just like that there's something different. So it seems to be random, like the start and the end point is different for every boss, so it's always you're not going to be able to get to a point where you can memorize a pattern and quickly hack something. There's always a little bit of, you have to interact with it. I would prefer it to not get super complicated personally, because I like to have something else going, and I enjoy that mechanic. I could see myself dealing with that mechanic for a long time and not getting tired of it.
Yeah, sure.
As opposed to you, but I think the difficulty setting is going to change that. But anyways, so just talking, I want to circle back. Switch 2 shooters are always difficult because of the throw on the sticks. They're so short. Did you have any problem with sensitivity or issues like that with this game at all?
Nope. There is a I had to turn the aim assist on for this, and it's pretty aggressive. But this isn't the type of game where I really care to be too like real precise. You're always up close to everything, so everything's pretty easy to hit. I actually have these little Joy-Con extenders, which makes the whole movement a little bit better. I don't even know how to like say that. It makes the sticks longer, so you can get a little bit better movement out of those. So I didn't have any issue with the shooting in this at all on my Switch 2. So
yeah, that's just something I always think about because that is an issue.
I know that's very true.
The throw is so short that it just seems
it's very short,
very hard to play shooters. Anyways, I'm super pumped about this. I don't know about you, but yeah, this is a day. I am. This is a day one for me. 100%. This is a instant purchase for me based on
same here.
Just what we got here. So very excited to get more, but that's going to cover Pragmata, I believe. Let's go ahead and pass it over back to you for a game I've never heard of. Again, let's go.
Okay. This is Escape from Ever After. This came out recently, January 23rd this year, and it is a turn-based adventure RPG, very much in the style of the Paper Mario games. Like,
oh yeah, I see that.
It is a Paper Mario game, essentially. So, it was developed by Sleepy Castle Studio, and in a game like this, especially a Mario game, instead of like saving the kingdom, you're basically trying to take down a corporation. So it's kind of, I had to make notes on this because I was like, I've got to explain this better. So basically, there's a real world company called Ever After Incorporated, and it invents technology to basically enter the world of storybooks. And then they go in and they buy out every kingdom. They turn the castle of this character, this dragon character, into like their headquarters, their corporate headquarters, and they put this collar around Tinder, I think is his name, and it basically shrinks him down, and he's basically defenseless against them taking over his castle and using it as their home base. So you play as Flint Buckler, who is out of some storybook. I don't know. He's a knight. He's actually at the very beginning of the game. He's going in to fight this dragon again. Like it's just an ongoing thing. And he goes to enter this castle, and all of a sudden it's taken over by this corporation. And he's like, what the heck is going on here? So, yeah, you walk in and there's like a receptionist, and he's like, I'm here to fight the dragon. And she's like, yeah, you're gonna have to speak to my manager about that. It's just totally it's funny. There's a lot of humor in this, especially the conversation between the two main characters. So instead of going in and fighting him, he gets thrown into a cell. I don't remember exactly what he does, but in the cell is this dragon that he's always been fighting his whole storybook career, and you basically team up to try to take down this company from the inside. So, yeah, Tinder is the dragon's name, and Tinder's like very fiery. Like he doesn't want anything to do with all this. He's barely Flint's sidekick. Like he doesn't really want to be, but he basically decides to go in with him to do what the corporation wants you to do and try to take the corporation down from the inside. So that's the whole kind of loop of this game. I'm probably 6 to 8 hours in, so I know I have a lot to still do in this. I basically only took down the in the Three Little Pigs storyline. The wolves are the good guys. The pigs are the bad guys. So you basically yeah, so I basically took down the Three Little Pigs, and then I went back to headquarters, and now I'm about to jump into my second storybook. So the combat is, like I said, it's turn-based. A lot of action commands. If you've ever played a Paper Mario, it's very similar. You have to hit a button to start your attack, and then a lot of times you have to do secondary things to make the attack stronger. Like Flint throws his shield out, and if you press A right when you get the shield back, you can throw it out again. Otherwise, he just catches it, and that's it. So, and every sidekick that you have with you has their own, different set of moves and stuff too. So, yeah, let's see, what else did I write down here? Yeah, it's very it's very like fourth wall breaking. Like they say stuff to the player sometimes, and it's just funny. And Tinder always has these little comments that he makes after people talk to him. It's just very funny. I think it's funnier than the Paper Mario ones. They're more like slapstick. This actually has some clever comedy writing in it. So, but yeah, like I said, I'm not super far into it yet, but I'm definitely going to keep going. I'm intrigued enough to. And then every little like area that you go into, there's like kind of a little puzzle to try to figure out how you move on. Like during the Three Little Pigs, the reason that the pigs are the bad guys is because they're basically taking over all the wolves like territory. They're building buildings and stuff. So you basically have to take them down. And there's you have to jump on elevators and then try to figure out how to get across like a pond. There's all kinds of little puzzles integrated into basically the walking throughout the levels. So art style's great, music's great, it's fun.
Oh yeah, it looks
a lot of fun.
Very, I mean, even the art style's Paper Mario. You're a 2D character.
Everything's flat.
You're a 2D character on a 3D background. Game looks very, very cool. How long to beat says 22 hours on this game, so you're maybe halfway ish, depending on how fast you're going.
Yeah, I don't know how many like storybooks you have to go into. I know I've got a slot for 2 more characters that I can bring into my party, so I'm guessing I get those out of the next 2 books I go into.
That kind of answers a question. Maybe it answers a question I had. Is it just you and one other sidekick, or can you have more than 2 party members on screen?
On screen, during a fight, it's just the 2. However, you can swap in character at any time. There is 1 free swap per battle, so it doesn't take up a turn. But then if you do it anymore, it basically takes up the turn that that character was going to use to perform an attack.
Gotcha.
So
I
yeah,
see.
not very challenging. You know, the fights aren't super challenging. I mean, the three little pigs, the final boss was the closest I got to dying, and I still didn't die. I don't think these games are meant to be super challenging, but
well, my experience with JRPGs lately is like the game itself isn't bad, and the end boss is like a fucking piece of shit. So hopefully that doesn't happen in this game. That's one of the reasons I dropped Legend of Dragoon too, because I feel like I'm not planning enough to be prepared for whatever that game offers at the end, and I'm gonna get stuck. So I see like when I'm watching the footage, when Tinder comes on screen, he has a burn attack. Is there elemental affinities, weaknesses, things like that that's kind of built in for depth of combat here?
Absolutely, and it's done really well. It's simple, but it's done well. So Tinder, his main attack is he breathes fire. If you have a opponent on screen that has a shield, if it's a wooden shield, Tinder can use an attack to burn the shield. Now it doesn't damage the enemy,
right? Breaks the shield.
But basically, then your next turn. So I found that you can swap who starts each turn for free. It doesn't take up so basically, like if there's a guy with a shield in front and it's Flint's turn, you can just swap real quick and bring Tinder up front. He can burn the shield off, and then Flint can throw his shield, and then it damages the enemy. There's also enemies that hold metal shields. Then I have another character, basically the big bad wolf. He has this ability to knock the shields off of enemies.
Okay.
So either way you go into it, if you got a guy with wooden shield, a metal shield, this is just one example. There's ways to get around this as long as you think a little bit to try to figure out. Because if Flint throws his shield on any enemy with with any enemy that has their own shield, or it's a buckler. I don't even know how a buckler it is. I think it's a shield of some sort, but it'll just bounce off and come back and not cause any damage. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's dope. You mentioned fourth wall breaks, so they're obviously playing with the player a little bit. Does that translate into I like when games like this have a cutesy art style but more mature tones. Is that happening here at all, or is it still very just cutesy fartsy, but they're still fucking with you type of thing? Or can you see like a deeper meaning behind the cutesiness?
There's a deeper meaning definitely behind the cutesiness. It's very like I don't know, like sometimes the Disney movies and stuff will throw in like kind of adult humor that you got to pick up on. This does that a lot too. And Tinder, I mean, he cusses, but they make all the little symbols and stuff. So like, he's pissed off a lot. He says a lot of stuff. It's cutesy, but it definitely adds some more adult humor, but does it very surface level.
That's great. That's cool. I really like that. Yeah. Game looks really, really cool. I don't know if I have a lot of other questions about it.
No.
Do you know what the next storybook is that you're going into, or have you not even got there?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
Nope. That's the next thing and then every time when you finish a storybook and you go back to headquarters, you check your email. You have your own cubicle. So you go in and you check your email, and it tells you, what Mr. Moon, who's like the CEO, it tells you what he wants you to do. But then there's also like emails from other employees that want you to do certain things. So there's a lot of side quests and stuff in this, and they're usually pretty short. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. There's also, I just unlocked it's almost like a roguelite element. In this castle. There's this tower that's 100 floors tall, and you can go in and do this challenge where you have to try to get all the way up 100 floors without dying. And then every 10 floors, you can decide you want to be done, and then you come back. But it's a cool way of like, because enemies drop stuff, whether it's a health pack or an item that you can use in battle. You can get that off of that that challenge mode too and take that back into the. I don't want to do it too much because the game's already not that hard,
Right.
and I'm just gonna get all this stuff to like take down everyone. So
Mhm.
I don't know if it's something I'm gonna like really try to get through 100 floors because every floor is essentially a turn-based battle. So that would take a while. But yeah.
Well, cool. I think this game looks really, really cool. I really enjoy the art style. Probably not for me because I'm just taking a break from turn-based games for the time being since I'm still mourning the loss of Legend of Dragoon.
Yep.
$24.99 available on modern consoles, all modern consoles and PC. So Xbox Series, PS5, Switch. Awesome. Glad to hear. I'm excited to hear more about this game for sure.
Yep. I'm gonna keep playing it.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. Moving on from there, I wanted to talk about some arcade games. So
yeah, boy,
we're doing a general conversation on this just because I've mentioned it on the podcast numerous times that I have these arcade 1-up cabinets that I've been kind of messing around with. And so for me, I grew up kind of without arcade. I'm 31. I keep saying I'm 31, but it kind of gives a reference point, I guess. But I grew up in a small town that we didn't have a local arcade, and I don't believe that the big town that we now live in had an arcade 30 years ago or whatever. But my only experience with arcade games was really, Pizza Hut. They had one fucking little multi-cab kind of in the corner, or Chuck E. Cheese, which is kind of an arcade, sort of, kind of. But that was pretty much it. So I am a gaming purist. I try to be. I love looking at the history of the industry and all of that stuff. So the first cabinet I got was the Pac-Man. They're all arcade 1-up machines, and you can shit on me if you want for owning the arcade 1-up machines, but I think they're great. I don't really give a shit what you think about them since they're not original cabinets. They're seen as toys, but I don't really care. They work good for me. I enjoy them. But I got the Pac-Man Legacy Collection. It's got Pac-Man, Pac-Man 2, Super Pac, Pac-Land, Galaga, Dig Dug, Galaxian, bunch of old school retro games. Really, the whole point is I wanted to have somewhat of the original control scheme, because you can play these games on a multitude of consoles in some way, shape, or form, but I wanted the joystick and the button and just wanted the original layout. Reason for that is I've always looked at arcade games as very primitive, right? They're from the early days of gaming. So as a modern gamer, I look at games and I kind of see them as, what you see is what you get. It's like reading a book by the cover. You see a game and you kind of can pick out what it is. And I was curious if there was anything more intricate to these games than what you see at first glance, and I'm happy to report there absolutely is. There's so many different little mechanics and tricks and things that you can learn in these old games. So despite their age, there's just so many intricacies, and the more that you play them, the more you pick up, and it just really adds an incredible depth to the gameplay systems that every game I've touched has really shown me. And I think that that's incredible. And again, just as someone that likes the history of gaming, to see this era kind of be re-represented and just being able to learn about these games has been an incredibly fun experience for me. So spent a lot of time playing Dig Dug, Pac-Man, Galaga has been my primary grind session game right now. But I've got the Pac-Man collection. I've got the MK2 cabinet that has Root Beer Tapper and Paperboy and all the MKs and Clacks and a bunch of random arcade games on there as well. I got a Turtles cabinet with Turtles in Time and the original TMNT arcade game, and then I've got a Street Fighter cabinet as well. All of these are arcade 1-up cabinets. I'm gonna inevitably mod the Street Fighter cabinet to get every MAME 80s and 90s arcade game that I can get my hands on, because I've just been having an absolute fun. And you know what? It really surprises me about this as well is I always kind of found it interesting that gaming used to be developed in a way that you were chasing a high score, and I didn't really understand how that worked, right? Because I'm so used to narrative experiences and things like that. But it's really fun to try to beat your high scores, especially in these types of games. Once you get the intricacies of the game down and understand how they work at a very fundamental level, trying to one-up yourself is just a lot of fun. And On top of that, my brother has come over and just fucking wiped the floor clean with all my scores. So I'm constantly trying to fight back and beat his shit. So I just wanted to mention it because I've just been having a fucking blast with these. I was gonna do a deep dive on Galaga in this episode, but I just figured there's not a lot to talk about. So I just thought I would do a general discussion on all of them that I've been diving into. It's been a really fun little pastime on top of the gaming pastime. It's still gaming related, but it's a little different. So I just thought I'd talk about it a little bit and bring it up. So don't give arcade games a shot if you haven't. They're fun. Despite what they look like, they are a lot of fun and a lot more intricate than you would imagine. So
I think this is really cool that you're touching on this stuff. I mean, you said you're 31. That's still freaking young, dude. I don't care how many times you say you're getting old. That's still young. And I don't see a lot of 30-year-olds going back and playing some of these old arcade games. A lot of times they're focused on the new shit. So I think this is really cool that you're diving into this stuff. I did have I grew up in Dubuque, so I lived in Dubuque, Iowa until I was 19, I think, and then that's when I moved here. But we had an Aladdin's Castle, and I actually had my best friend at the time was the manager. Well, not at first, so I should back that up a little bit. I would go to Aladdin's Castle all the time, and then when we got into high school, even like junior year, my buddy. I guess he was a good friend of mine, but he was a couple years older than I was. So he got a job there and ended up moving up to the manager position. And I would go in and he'd open up the cabinet and just
put it on free play.
Yep, put it on. Well, he'd hit the thing, the coin button over and over and over. So I'd have all these, free plays. So I spent a lot of time at arcades, growing up, and I always had a blast. My grandparents also were big campers, but they had this like really nice like campground that they would go to, and there was an arcade there. So every time I go to visit them, I'd be like, "Hi, Grandma. Hi, Grandpa. Okay, bye," and I'd run down to the arcade and spend most of my time there. So I played a lot of arcade games in my day. So definitely worth playing.
Absolutely. I just it took me by surprise. I mean, to dive into mechanics a little bit, like Galaga, for example, there's a system in the game where you can get sucked up and get a second ship. I'd have never fucking known that you could do that until I fucked around with the game and found out about it. And same thing with like Tapper. There's different strategies. Yes, you can memorize patterns, but and really start to set high scores in games like that and stuff. But I just love the history and just having it, to me, feels like I've got a piece of history. It's something that surprisingly I will fire it up and fuck around with often. Yeah. So it's not something that just sits here and collects dust. It's a good little thing to have at the house. If people come over, they can just fire up anything that they want to. It's going to be even better once I get my cabinet modded. So I can just say, you can play whatever the fuck you want on there. So that's gonna be.
I want to come over and play some arcade games.
Absolutely, it'd be really cool. I mean, they're fun. They're cool to look at. They're just, and not only that, but they're fun to just mess around with. So what was your favorite arcade game back in the Aladdin's Castle days?
Oh boy. So I mean, they had I always enjoyed Rampage. Played the shit out of that. There was a Paperboy one. There was a original Donkey Kong machine that was at my grandparents' their campsite. Yeah, so I played a lot of that. Dig Dug, I played a lot of that. And then as arcade games started getting more advanced, I really got into like the Street Fighters, and they actually had that campground had Street Fighter 1 arcade, which was like, holy shit. But they started getting more advanced. I played the shit out of like the Mortal Kombats. I really got into the first Killer Instinct in the arcades. Oh dude, I was memorizing stuff and going to the arcades and just wiping people out. I felt way cooler than I actually was. But I mean, a little bit of everything. I don't there isn't anything I won't try. So
yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of there with you. I'm going through phases. I mean, when I really got into it, I started playing this game called Rompers, which is very similar to like Bomberman, but you got to push walls over onto enemies to get points and then get all the keys in the level to progress. I mean, they're very simple, but they're more. They're just a lot more complex than it looks. I've said that 100,000 times. But I started with rompers, moved over to Dig Dug a little bit. Then I have been playing Turtles in Time because fucking Chuck E. Cheese had a Turtles in Time cabinet, and I remember
fantastic beat 'em up.
I remember distinctly when you walked into Chuck's Arcade. That's what a story Chuck E. Cheese is going through. They rebranded Chuck E. Cheese as Chuck's Arcade, and basically they bought out a bunch of like small arcades and just started calling them Chuck's Arcade. It's just the same shit. What a weird thing that our Chuck E. Cheese is long gone. But I just remember going into Chuck E. Cheese and you would hear the Turtles in Time theme fucking all the time. Like that theme was so loud you could hear it everywhere. So it's just a very massive hit of nostalgia. And then from there, I'm diving into Galaga now and learning that game and its intricacies and just having a blast with it. So, it's
have you,
go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I didn't have anything else. I was just blabbing.
Okay. Have you been to Quarter Barrel downtown at all?
I was going to go into that. I have not. I want to go really bad. I tried to get my brothers to go. We were going to make a vlog. I was like, come on, we'll vlog going to Quarter Barrel. And they like, I don't want to fucking do that. So like, whatever. Maybe you and I should go.
Oh, dude, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
we should do a thing where we go to Quarter Barrel. I mean, hopefully we can talk to them. And like, I mean, that's one of the places I deliver to. And I've kind of gotten to know, some of the workers there, so maybe I can talk to someone and be like, hey, can we come in and do like do a little recording or something like of us playing these games. But yeah, they have a Turtles in Time, they have the Simpsons arcade game,
nice.
They got Mortal Kombat, they got all that stuff, but there's a lot of old retro cabinets in there as well.
That's what I would love to go. I think I've been to to Spare Time over here. That place is fucking a goddamn crime against me. That shit is so expensive. That's all modern.
Boy,
that's all modern shit, and it's ridiculously expensive. Except they have like the new Centipede game is sweet. That game.
Oh yeah, they do.
That new Centipede.
Is that the one that's on like the huge
monitor? Game? Yeah, and it's like 4-player Centipede. That game is really fun.
Yeah.
But
the problem with like Spare Time is like a lot of that shit is like designed to like win these tickets and stuff to like go buy the crap in the there's not a lot of good like actual just fun arcade games
so there. The modern business model of arcades is that we don't have. We're in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. They'll just dox ourselves. Fuck it. That's where we're at. That's where we work. We don't. So the modern arcade formula, the way that people are able to keep arcades alive in 2026 is they set up free play arcades. So there's an entry fee, and then they have a bar, like a full service bar with an entry fee. So you pay an entry fee, you have the bar access to get their money that way, but they set all of their cabinets up on free play. So you just basically can walk in, you can play. I would love nothing more than to be able to run a free play arcade like business someday in the future, but like that's never gonna fucking happen, dude. You gotta have so much money to invest in cabinets and shit like that to even get it off the ground. Yeah, and we don't have our town has got 100,000 people in it, right? So it wouldn't thrive in this environment. You really need a big city where you know that it's gonna do well. So that wouldn't work here, but I would love for there to be a free play arcade around me anywhere. What's funny is like Iowa is the home of Twin Galaxies. They're probably 3 hours south of us in Ottumwa is where they're based out of. So they were the original like leaderboard on the internet for arcade games, like keeping high scores and tracking the top arcade players. So they have a big arcade in Ottumwa, but I'm not fucking driving to Ottumwa to go play arcade games unless I can make a whole fucking day out of it, which I don't even know how that's laid out there. I know that the Twin Arcade or the Twin Galaxies arcade is still there, but it is what it is. Anyways, weird conversation. Yeah, so anyways, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna keep doing shit like that. I'm gonna keep playing it, taking up time away from stuff that I should be working on to cover on the show. But it's just a really fun. And just I don't know. I just
No,
I feel
you don't even need to explain it.
I feel cool owning these things, even though I have no friends and no one comes over and plays them with me. But Jason's gonna have to find some time away from the family to come in and show me how to play these games for sure.
Oh, I don't know about that, but I mean, I just want to play them.
I have a question for you, and you probably might not even know this. Did you ever play Blitz on the arcade cabinet?
A football game?
Yeah.
I don't know if I have.
Okay, so
I was never like a sports gamer.
I want to mod the Street Fighter cabinet that I have because it's got the default joystick 6-button configuration, which is, from all the cabinets I own, that's the most standard control layout.
Yeah.
So that would work across the vast majority of games. If you ever used a MK, if you ever been at an MK cabinet, I think the button layout on an MK machine sucks. It's basically an X. Mm-hmm. And it's terrible. So your block button's in the middle, and you have to like.
It's terrible.
It's just a terribly designed console, so I didn't want to mod that one. The Pac-Man console is a joystick and 1 button. Well, technically 3 buttons because Pac-Land is a side-scrolling game. That game fucking sucks too, by the way. Maybe it doesn't suck. I haven't played it enough. This cat will not leave me alone. Roscoe, do you want to say hi?
Hi, Roscoe.
Thanks. Anyway.
How was that thing?
Yeah, so that one I could mod for like really old 80s, 90s stuff, but I'm just wondering because I'm considering modding my Turtles cabinet because that's a 4-player cabinet. I just don't know how many buttons Blitz had and NBA Jam had because that's really what I'd want to play on that as well. And I know that Arcade 1-Up made NBA Jam and Blitz cabinets. I've overspent on fucking arcade. I would not be able to justify another one down here with my wife. So, I just don't know what the configuration is, and maybe I bought the wrong cabinet. Maybe I should have bought a Blitz cabinet, and that would take care of it. But I have the Turtles cabinet.
Couldn't tell you the buttons on Blitz. I mean, NBA Jam I think only has
2.
There's 2 or 3. 2.
It might be 3.
Pass and shoot. I think there's a sprint.
Oh yeah, there is a sprint. Because I think my Turtles is only 2. Attack and jump. Yeah. Butts. Well,
so I don't know. Yeah.
So maybe not. Well, I could play Blitz on my Street Fighter 2 machine, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, that's a long project away from now, but I do want to get that done. I'm excited to do that. It should be cool.
It'd be cool.
But I just wanted to dive into it. Arcade 1-Up's now out of business. They got bought by another company, so I don't know. I know that there's a Neo Geo MX 3/4 scale console that I want really bad. It's a Neo Geo cabinet, just like those, but it's got all the Neo Geo stuff on it. But that all requires money.
When I was a kid, I thought Neo Geo was like the coolest thing because the graphics were so much better. I was like, God, I want a Neo Geo, but they were so expensive.
Dude, stupid.
So
stupid. And then the game cartridges were fucking massive. Oh my gosh, what a joke.
And they were super expensive too.
Yeah, and now look where we're at with games. Now arcade games can't even compete, which is so sad.
No.
That's so sad. It's such a I just wish I could have experienced going into an arcade. It'd be with my fucking people, right? A bunch of dorks that are in there just fucking who are here to fucking play games. And that's it. Like, where is that nowadays? There's nothing around here. We have a we have a side load arcade off a laundromat that I know about that I used to play games at over in Marion. When I had to go to the laundromat. Thank God I don't have to fucking do that anymore. But
oh God.
They had some stuff in there that was cool. I should go back there sometime. There's never a fucking soul in there, so I could record there freely without even worrying about it.
Oh yeah, no problem.
But they had like a Silver Strike cabinet. I don't even remember. At that time, I wasn't big into stuff, so I would go in there and play Silver Strike bowling. The other arcade machine I want is fucking Golden Tee. The Arcade 1-Up did make a Golden Tee cabinet, so I actually bought it. I bought it from Kohl's. I had the Golden Tee on the way from Kohl's, and they canceled the order on me. That was so sad. and then when that got canceled, I went and bought my 2 machines from the crackhead, and that was small ass town. to fill my sorrow for not getting my Golden Tee cabinet. But
right.
Anyways, arcade games are fucking sick. So
they're awesome.
That's it for that. I think that's games for this week, man.
I think so too.
It's a good little segment. Let's go ahead and take a quick break. We'll dive right into the news after. Not a lot of news this week, so we should be able to get through this relatively easily. Yeah. So you guys aren't locked into hearing our content for 4 hours this week. Sweet! All right, we'll see you guys in a second.
All right. What's up, everybody, and welcome back. We just took our first break of the episode, and now it's time to dive into some news. So the first thing I got is just a little bit on the Xbox side of thing. It actually dives a little bit into Steam as well. So we do have conflicting articles that kind of tie into this a little bit later on. I kind of like that we do because it just goes to show that really nobody knows what's going on with the next gen of console releases. So basically what this article says is the next gen Xbox is on track for a 2027 launch, according to dude, I hate fucking ads, man. I'm pulling up this article. There's a fucking giant ad in the middle of it. All right. According to the AMD CEO. So apparently the Valve's console, which is a PC-like, is apparently arriving early this year. We'll see. And the next Xbox could launch in 2027. So AMD's CEO, Lisa Su, shared some information regarding two upcoming video game devices, the Valve Steam Machine and Xbox's next-gen console, both of which are powered by her company's chips. So according to GamesBeat on February 3rd, Sue shared some info about when to expect Valve's upcoming console-like PC gaming box, the Steam Machine, and further teased a possible launch window for Microsoft, previously confirmed to be in development at Xbox. So from a product standpoint, Valve is on track to begin shipping its AMD-powered Steam Machine early this year, claims Sue. In prepared remarks ahead of a financial call, and development of Xbox's next-gen console featuring an AMD semi-custom chip is progressing well to support a launch in 2027. There's more. I think that's kind of the gist of it, but I wanted to throw this in there because we had just talked about last episode, PS5 possibly going out to 2029. And I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, are you surprised that Xbox is even making a new console after everything's an Xbox? I mean, I guess I'm not super surprised on this one because it'd be kind of a big shock and a change if they just at this generation decided to stop making a new system. But I feel like if this one doesn't go well, they might be out of the hardware business altogether. They may just turn into a games manufacturer. So while this does say 2027, I don't see that unless they really want to get ahead of the next PlayStation, but 2 years ahead. And that's just speculating that the PS5 will be pushed to 2029, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't mean to cut you off. Keep going if you got stuff. That
was about it. Really.
I fucking hate this. I'm just gonna say I hate this. To be honest, I hate this. I don't care so much about the Steam Machine. That's a whole separate entity, in my opinion. I don't see that as a console competitor. Even though it is a console competitor, it's a micro PC. But Steam is a whole different ball game. If you play on PC, you've built up a massive collection of Steam games, including myself. I think I have 1,300 Steam games. Like, what the fucking...
Good Lord.
Why? So that is a whole different thing. That's just basically access to your Steam library on your TV, which has been done by multiple consoles in the past. Whatever. They can do whatever they want with that thing. I have seen technical details on the Steam Machine that seems to be decent. So just whatever. That I'm not even looking at. I do not want the next Xbox in 2027, and I don't think consumers do either, because it could be the next gen console. It isn't going to get anything worthy of a upgrade, especially if they delay the PS5. We already saw that report from fucking last week's episode where this 20% of game devs.
That's what I was referencing.
20% of game devs want to develop for Xbox. This is not going to get anything that. No. It's just dumb. I think it's stupid as shit. I am not ready to buy a new console. I don't know if I'm going to be ready in 2029 either, but definitely not ready right now. So yeah, it is surprising. And like you mentioned, Xbox is in trouble. They don't. What is selling Xbox right now other than like what you pointed out, that you grew up and your friends list is built on your Xbox, and that's why you stuck with that line. But if you break away from that, like I did, well, I don't play games with my friends anymore. I switched to PlayStation.
Right. I'm about to.
I switched to PlayStation. There's exclusives that are actually worthwhile on that console, which I don't like exclusives, but if I'm gonna game, I want them. So it just made sense to move over. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this at length, but there is not going to be a massive technical jump to the next gen. It's not going to happen. So I think it's terrible. They can launch it. They'll get some sales from it, I'm sure. But I would imagine a lot of people are like myself. We're just waiting for the next PlayStation. And depending on the price of that, it may be time to just everything be a PC at that point. But I don't exactly know. I hate this news. So
I do too, and I do too, and I wanted to just throw this in there because we're getting all these different conflicting dates of when the next hardware is coming out, because nobody really freaking knows. I mean, they just don't know. And I hate that everyone keeps going to like, well, yeah, but it's been 7 years. That's kind of the trend. I'm like, why? It doesn't have to be the trend.
Yeah.
Like, I get the first, from the Xbox to the 360, big jump. 360 to Xbox One. Big jump,
moderate, not as big, but moderate.
So every time, it's just a little less moderate. So let's break the 7-year freaking trend. Why it seems too short as it is. And I mean, look at what the PlayStation's doing now with the PS5. It's those games are still incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't need it yet.
Yeah, I mean,
I just
there was a massive amount of FOMO back in the day, right? If you had a PS2 and you saw the PS3, you're like, I gotta have that. I am to the point now where if we get an upgraded console, I don't know if I'm rushing to buy the next console, no matter when it is, because like you said, there's we're to the point with technology right now where we got to be getting close to the ceiling, and an upgrade isn't going to do a whole lot. I mean, the only thing that they could potentially sell the new Xbox on is it running GTA 6 smoother. Granted, if that game comes out this year, that could be their selling point for that console.
Sure.
But you're not getting exclusives anymore, except what, Halo. I've never really been a big Halo guy, but
well, and there's talks of Halo coming to PlayStation.
I'm sure it will. So I don't understand.
They already lost Gears.
Yep, they already lost Gears. The remastered came out on PlayStation, right?
Forza.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, they're losing all their
mainline. Forza is still locked on Xbox. Motorsport. Well, PC too, but
Microsoft. Yeah.
Anyways, this news stinks. It smells fishy. I don't want a new console. I don't want to spend the money on a new console. Maybe that's just me, but I think it's too soon. And like you, I agree with you 100%. I agree 100% with you that there should not be a trend that we have to get a refresh at this point. Of course, the AMD rep's going to want them to push their new chip out. That's how they make their money. They get a cut of the
and that's all this article
sales.
Could be. It could be just like because she wants to keep it in people's minds. Oh yeah, 2027. Shit, that's only next year. Let's go. She is trying to push it. So she may have no freaking clue.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah, you're right. They should. The cycle should definitely be longer nowadays, especially with just the moderate increases that we're getting. So, very interesting to talk about. But,
with how powerful the systems already are. I mean, it's we don't need it yet.
Nope, we definitely don't. I mean, I fell for the trap of buying God, I don't even remember. So I got a PS4, then I bought a PS4 Pro. I did not buy a PS5
So
Pro.
did I.
I did not buy a PS5 Pro. Because I'm an asshole and I want my disc tray in my console still. I refuse to get rid of my disc tray and have a separate disc tray. Otherwise, I might have. But I don't know what the big...
The Pro is only digital?
Only digital.
Okay.
I mean, they sell the disc drive add-on that you can do.
No, that's so stupid.
But it's a dumb argument. Like we talked about before, discs are shit now anyway. They're just an install code. So it's not... That's just me being a stickler, but I don't know. I guess Xbox hasn't released a Pro version. They just have the Series S, which is the entry level, and the X, which is the bigger,
the Series X is their Pro version.
That came out at the same exact time. You have the X?
Yeah. Series X.
I don't know, man.
I don't either. We can move on. This is just
that's cool one to talk about, but let's hold off on new consoles. I don't want them yet. So fuck off.
Same here. Yep.
Next topic here, I've got a note from Video Game Chronicle, becoming my favorite video game news source site. Just love what they post. But they are stating here, PS5 outsold the Switch 2 during a stronger than expected holiday season for Sony. I just found this interesting that the PS5, 7 years into its life cycle, is still able to outsell the Switch 2, which is brand new. However, is it really that surprising? To me, not really. Again, no. as I've mentioned before, I don't think Switch 2 has a console killer right at the moment. I don't think there's anybody rushing out to buy a Switch 2 right this second. A lot of people are still enjoying their Switch 1, rightfully so. There has definitely been some games that have come out that are kind of cross between the two that run definitely better on the Switch 2, but there's not a console seller on that device yet. And I don't think Fever is the console seller either, which is coming out this month. So I don't know. I think the Switch 2 launched a little too early. Maybe not too early, but
I agree. And I just wanted to touch on, the Switch 2 was the fastest selling console of all time. And then it kind of tapered off, which is why this article does make sense to me, because everyone rushed to get it, and then it kind of tapered off, and the PS5 just keeps putting out, bangers. So and I'm a Nintendo nerd, so of course I got a Switch 2 day one. Well, I don't know if it was day one, but it was pretty quick after I finally got my hands on one. So and honestly, it wasn't just for the Switch 2 games. I wanted to...
You wanted the upgrade.
I wanted to see my Switch 1 games that I love playing running a little bit better, and most of them do, even without a Switch 2 version. The old original Switch 1 games run better. Especially games that didn't have had an uncapped frame rate, but even the ones that did have a capped, we just got through talking about the 30 FPS thing, and I don't love it, especially in racing games. I don't think I could do it anymore. But there are games that, they're locked at 30 and they're fine. But the thing that the Switch 2 did for those games is the frame pacing is so much better on the Switch 2. So you're playing a 30 FPS game, but it doesn't feel like it with the much better frame pacing. I mean, I played Star Wars Outlaws on my Series X, which I'm one of the outliers that actually enjoyed that game, and then it came out on Switch 2, and lo and behold, I picked it up on Switch 2 as well. I knew it wasn't going to be quite the same. I love to just sit down and play a handheld, sitting on the couch. I love to sit up next to my wife. She can watch her shows, and I usually put like one earbud in and play my Switch, so we can kind of be, by each other. I think that's one of the things I love about my Switch. But anyway, back to Star Wars Outlaws. It's locked to 30, but with the frame pacing being as good as it is, it plays fine. It actually plays surprisingly well.
Good.
And that's one of the early games on Switch 2. So it's just going to get better. I'm looking forward to the stuff coming out down the road on Switch 2. But like you said, it just doesn't have that killer app that you need.
And I like that you mentioned that stat earlier about the Switch 2 kind of hard dropping and nobody really got test kits. I didn't know that. So that is intriguing as shit to me, because that just it really kind of makes me excited for what's to come for Switch as well. It's something I've been questioning for a while, but that does help solidify that, some of these early games, other than Nintendo first party titles, didn't really know what they were developing for. So that's only going to get better as time goes on. So that's good to know. I'm happy to hear that. That is exciting news.
Yeah, they were very stingy with what they let. I think just a very, very small handful of developers, a developer kit for the Switch 2, and that wasn't even. I mean, we're not talking about too much of an early dev kit. I mean, we're talking like a few months, I believe, is all they just Nintendo's Nintendo. They keep a freaking tight lock on everything, and the specs of the Switch 2 got leaked because of Genki, the peripheral manufacturer. They were coming out with this case, and they basically showed the whole Nintendo Switch 2 specs before Nintendo did, and that got them into some shit. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to what's coming up, down the road, now that the developers have some time with it and can optimize their games to run better. So
there's nothing wrong with Nintendo keeping a tight key on their ship. I think that's fun. It makes it more exciting. So I think that's actually cool, and I wish there wasn't as many leaks out there. I agree with you on the leak discussion. And what's really funny about this? We had a leak for the Direct, and all of it was wrong. So
all of it was wrong.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. We fucking skipped a topic here. I apologize. No, we didn't. We're still coming to it. No, we're coming to it. I apologize. I'm doing this all one-handed today because my fucking mic broke. So I'm just out here trying my best.
Cats on your lap and everything.
Got a cat staring at me. You can see his fucking ears if you're watching the live video. But he's not sitting on the keyboard, so we're fucking moving and grooving. Anyway, how do you? I just wanted to ask you. Do you mostly play your Switch 2 portable? I think maybe I've asked this before. Now that I say that out of my mouth.
No, I really do, and I know some people are going to be like,
no, it's not.
I just do.
Fuck that. It don't matter how you play it.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because they do get a slight bump when you dock them, but I also have I think it's a 65, 68 inch, very nice, HDR 120 frame TV in my basement. This is like my home theater type area. But going from a handheld to a huge screen, even with the bump in resolution. I mean, the handheld maxes out at 1080p. The docked goes up to 4K, and yes, it's very pretty. But you do see some of those compromises that you have to get on the Switch 2 when you're playing it on the big screen. So not that that's why I don't play it there, but it's not enough. Playing docked isn't enough to be like, well, I have to play this docked because it's gonna look and run so much better. It's a slight upgrade, but I feel like it balances itself out because you're seeing it on this huge screen. Maybe if I had a small, gaming monitor, it'd be different, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm lazy. I like to sit on the couch and have my Switch 2 in my lap.
Fucking nothing wrong with that at all. I just, as a not as intelligent on Nintendo as you, what's the battery life on the Switch 2? Because you mentioned a battery saver mode on Grid Legends, so is that like an issue that you run into a lot, or?
Certain games, obviously, use up more battery than others, like real simple, roguelites, side-scrolling things. I mean, you get a good probably 5 hours in that, but it does cut down quite a bit when you get into the more graphically demanding games. Yeah, it does. I think I remember hearing something about like Star Wars Outlaws when that was being ported, and it said like 2.5 hours of battery life. That for me, that doesn't matter because we have a sectional upstairs, and right where it gets pieced together, I fed a power cord right through the cushions.
Beautiful.
So I always have it plugged in.
Pro gamer move right there, baby.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Yeah. I'm just curious. That's cool. I just thought we'd bring
But
that
like
up.
so like every Sunday I take my daughter down to this Orchestra Iowa thing that she's into, and I don't even go in anymore because there's no point. I just drop her off, and it's only an hour and a half, and we live about takes about 16, 17 minutes to get down there. So instead of driving down, dropping her off, driving home, and feeling like I'm only home for a few minutes, I just stay down there and I take
Mhm.
my Switch 2. I stay in my car, and I'll probably turn it on right after I drop her off, and I'm playing for an hour and a half. Usually, again, depending on the game, I'm at about 60%,
Not bad.
50 to mid 50s to 60 some percent of my battery left by
Not
the
bad.
time I leave. So that's really not terrible.
Nope, not at all. Cool. That's curious.
So,
That's cool, man. That's awesome.
yeah.
Switch 2 is
Yep.
a sweet device.
It really is.
All right, so moving on from there, next PlayStation news I got for y'all is the noted by GameSpot here, PS5 prices likely to not increase for now, as Sony has made moves to protect the supply for the coming year. So they've set plans in place to stockpile what they need to produce PS5s throughout the year of 2026. So the price that these consoles are sitting at right now should remain locked in for at least throughout the year, and they're working on getting more stock in the door to kind of keep it locked going into 2027. I just thought I would bring this up. Well, go ahead.
What you're telling me is I should probably go ahead and get a PS5.
What I'm telling you is you have at least a year. I'm saying you have at least until 2027. They've got stocks covered for
plenty
that.
of time.
Yeah, so
Yep. Okay.
You've got time. I just wanted to mention this because the industry's in fucking shambles with everything. There's another. Well, we'll just talk about it now. The Switch 2 CEO came out and was already starting to make some comments about RAM shortages and things of that, which of course is starting to scare people because it sounded like he's starting to position the Switch 2 for a price increase coming soon. So, this was just something I found that I thought was good. That way, if you are in the market for a PS5, but you're not quite in the position, you still got a little bit of time to get these things, what they're currently retailing for. And that's a good thing that Sony is doing. They could just as easily say, or not put this out there and say, well, we don't have anything, we're shortage, and we're going to jack the price up like every other manufacturer. But they actually released a statement saying they're trying to keep the prices stable. I appreciate the fuck out of that. So I think that's awesome. solid move by them. So
for sure.
Very, very cool.
Yeah. Awesome.
So yeah, that's that. So CFO Lin Tao from Sony CFO.
Yeah.
This is his direct statement. As for securing a supply of memory, we are already in a position to secure the minimum quantity necessary to manage the year-end selling season of the next fiscal year, which is October to December 2026. Going forward, we intend to further negotiate with various suppliers to secure enough supply to meet the demand for our customers. And then Shuntaro Furukawa, killed that.
Sure.
Nintendo president acknowledged this is what he said. The Switch 2 price hike was possible, and basically due to a lack of DRAM memory. And Valve has confirmed the Steam Machine, Steam Frame, Steam Controller have been delayed due to global memory and storage shortages. So there you go. That's pretty much it. I already pretty much covered it, but that was ripped straight from the GameSpot article, so I thought I would say that just in case I wasn't clear enough. But there you go.
Right. And one of the things, you touched on that Switch 2, comment about it sounding like the prices could go up. I mean, there were talks about that before the Switch 2 actually came out. They announced they announced the prices, and for a while, I mean, the prices were announced about a month or so before the release, and there was even talks that could change, especially with the tariffs and all that. I think that particular topic was more about the tariffs, but then after it got released, they were already talking like it's going to go up. I don't see any way around it. So it's kind of another reason I jumped on board right away. I wanted to get it at the cheapest.
I was going to mention that. That might be why. That might be a factor as to why it's the most selling console of all time. If you're going to get it at a lower price now than later, kind of makes sense. So.
I thought that too. Yep.
But I don't think Nintendo is sleazy about it. That's just the state of the world. But that definitely is something to think about. So. Mm-hmm. Moving on from PlayStation, let's go to everyone's favorite Nintendo. Jason.
Nintendo.
We watched and reacted to the Nintendo Direct on Thursday. Did a live reaction to that. You can catch that full VOD on YouTube. So go ahead and go over there. Check that out. We watched it together. It was a good little time. Half-hour long little Direct coverage. What was your thoughts on the Direct as a whole? And anything stand out to you in particular from that show?
Well, I mean, as a whole, it was fine. Nothing really. I mean, there's definitely some cool stuff in there, but this is another reason I hate leaks, because you see this stuff and you're like, oh man, that'd be cool. Oh man, that'd be cool. And then none of those games get even mentioned in the Direct. But there was definitely some cool stuff on there. So I think we should just run through kind of what was released. There was mentioned. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a ton, so it shouldn't take too long.
I was just gonna say, just briefly. I was thinking about that before we started recording today. I couldn't even remember one fucking thing from that, other than the Pragmata demo that was already kind of shown elsewhere.
Yep.
So, it was unimpactful for me. Not to say anything bad about Nintendo. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just saying it was it was kind of it was an interesting showcase. Anyways, let's go ahead and do what you want to do. Let's dive into these.
Well, yeah, and you did mention that like you hadn't really watched one of those Directs in the past, at least live.
Yeah.
And it was 30 minutes long, and it was just like
rapid.
You were like, God damn, they are just ripping through these games.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. That probably is why I couldn't remember it. It was so fast I couldn't even keep up with it.
Yeah, especially there's a lot of indies and stuff on the list too, and they just kind of touch on that stuff pretty quick. So they just kind of rip through it. But the opening of the Direct was about a game called Orbitals, which doesn't have an official release date yet. It just says it's coming out this year.
Summer.
This is very much does it say summer?
They're targeting summer.
You're totally right.
Yep.
It says summer.
No, you're good.
So summer 2026. It is a co-op puzzler, kind of like in the vein of like It Takes Two or what was that? Split Fiction, which I have, and that's one of the games I wanted to play with my daughter. We haven't gotten around to it yet, but very similar. It's mandatory co-op, so you got to play with 2 players. So set in space, kind of anime like. So I don't know. I thought it looked cool.
I'm going to touch on it as well. If your daughter ain't interested, I would be happy to join you in this one. I thought this game looked really, really cool. This is a game I will, if you want. I'm not going to buy it for my wife and I. We don't play games together, but we can do it online. This game looked cool. The art style was super dope. They are keeping a retro, modern kind of aesthetic. Very cool. I've never really actually played one of these co-op games before. And this one caught my attention. Thought it looked really nice. So maybe in the future we can work on that one together if you want to. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Like that.
The next thing they touched on was Paranormal Sight. It's a adventure game. I don't really.
It's a visual novel.
Didn't do anything. Visual novel style didn't do anything for me.
Me either.
Captain Tsubasa 2, which is a very what's that game? Azuma 11 style.
Yeah.
Victory Road. Azuma 11 Victory Road. Yeah. A soccer RPG.
Yeah, we talked after we talked about that. That Victory Road series franchise is on PlayStation. I didn't notice that until just after we talked about it. Yeah. So, anyways, game's still $70. So
I meant to pick up the latest one, but it's expensive. It's $70.
Yeah. After we talked about it, I looked it up too, and it came up, and I was like, that kind of interests me, and I was like, $70, fucking hold the horses.
Yep. So no thanks. At least until maybe a sale. I mean, it does look cool. It reviewed really well, so I don't know. I want to check it out at some point. Next up, Tokyo Scramble, which is like a modern Dino Crisis. Nope, not for me. And they touched on this thing where you can play up like 4 other people can join you, but instead of like being another character, you can control the camera. You can like I don't even know what else you do,
There's
but
the
I'm like, oh
buttons,
my
the
god, that sounds like
camera, the
freaking
fucking
chaos.
yeah. That game looked like crap. That game visually looked like crap. It just looked like a. It just. I'm not trying to shit talk, but that game did not look very good at all.
Nope.
They probably put it in here because it comes out 2 weeks next week. Next week comes out Wednesday,
February 11th.
Yeah. What a odd choice of co-op
Very.
interest. There's a game like this called Octodad. My wife and I actually played that where you it's a dual controller game where you control one character. One person controls the left half of the body, the other person controls the right half of the body.
Oh, I've heard of that.
That was really fun, but this is like you're literally going to only hold one Joy-Con if you have 4 people, and you're like, it's going to be so frustrating. That's not going to be implemented well. And I don't care who you are.
No,
it's just odd choice. I don't think the game looks that fun. Very stealth focused, no combat. Didn't look all that visually appealing. I'm gonna pass on that one.
Well, and you even mentioned that it didn't look the greatest. Not only did it not look the greatest, it didn't look like it was running very well.
Oh no, it looked like
either.
It was
and I'm like,
struggling.
If you can't put gameplay footage that makes it look like it's running smooth, it's not running smooth.
And especially this close to a release, that's troublesome.
Not for me anyway. Nope. Yeah, exactly.
Nope.
So, next up, they talked about Valheim coming out on the Switch 2. Just has a 2026 release date. If you played Valheim on PC, PlayStation,
everything, yep.
Yeah, on Xbox, it's like a Viking survival game. I heard it was cool. I actually thought about checking it out on my Xbox. But the at least early footage of the Switch 2 version doesn't look. Does it just say Switch 2? Yeah.
It looked like they made some graphical compromises, to say the
least.
Big
time.
Yeah, this game was highly received on other platforms. I'm not a survival game guy, so not for me. But yeah, I would. Don't just jump in thinking you're getting PC Valheim. I would watch the trailer before making a purchase on that one, in my opinion. But that's all I got to say about that.
Doesn't look like it. The next one will be quick. Hollow Knight 2, the Switch 2 version, released the day of the direct. So just upgraded, visually. It already ran at 60 on Switch 1, so I'm guessing it just looks prettier with the Switch 2 version. And then we go into eFootball Kickoff, summer 2026. Another anime-styled soccer thing.
This is a FIFA clone, so it's PES Soccer. Yeah. They've rebranded to eFootball. They've been free to play. I would assume this one will be as well, but it's a free-to-play sports game that basically the whole point of the game is like Ultimate Team and other sports games. If you're familiar, it's a heavily monetized, fucking gross ass card collecting.
Gross.
Bad. Not one I would look forward to, but maybe if you already like the series, it's coming out for you.
Sure, whatever. Up next, we got The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennial Tales. So this one actually does look really cool. I played the demo a couple months ago when it released. It's by Square Enix. It's a time traveling HD 2D adventure. They finally locked in a release date of June 18th. So it's basically an action RPG. It kind of looks, art style is similar to like the what's that freaking game that just came out recently? I can never remember.
Dragon's
titles.
Quest?
No.
I don't know these games well enough. Why are you thinking on that?
Zero. Just
okay, go ahead.
I don't know. I can't remember. But anyway, art style looks cool. It played really well in the demo. I'll probably be checking this one out.
Squeenix are the masters of RPGs. They are just really good all the time. Usually, this is a new franchise, right? You said this is the beginning of a new franchise, new IP.
Yep.
looks very interesting visually. I am stoked to hear you cover it. I don't think I'm stealing my wife's game or Switch 2 for okay. RPG, but excited to hear you talk about it for sure.
I got that one locked down for
Hell
you.
Yeah, baby.
We're up next, Super Bomberman Collection. It does Super Bomberman up through Super Bomberman 5. So I don't know how many that is in the middle there, but if you like Bomberman, sounds like all the Bomberman games are coming to Switch 2.
They are on Switch 2. It came out on the release day of the Direct, and
well, look at that.
The Super Bomberman 3 through 5 were Japan exclusives, and now they're worldwide releases. So that was pretty interesting to note on that collection.
Very
but
cool.
They're all fucking Bomberman. They play the same. Cool stuff.
Yep. Okay. Up next, they announced that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is the second part of the trilogy of games remaking the Final Fantasy VII game, is coming out on the Switch 2 on June 3rd. The remake ran really well on Switch 2, so I don't really have any fears that this one won't. I guess maybe the only thing is Rebirth is more open. There's more bigger open environments, so we'll see. It's just cool that it's coming out. And that what did I say? That one, June 3rd.
June 3rd.
Yep. Yep. And then we go with Pragmata, which we talked about earlier, coming out on April 24th on the Switch 2. I don't think we need to go too much more into that.
Yeah, we covered it.
Yep. Turok Origins is shooting for a fall 2026 release date. It looks like a new. Is this a new Turok game?
Yep. Yeah, it's not a remake. It's a new IP co-op online. Looks like Monster Hunter in a lot of ways. Third person, first person. Oh yeah,
I remember
Switch,
that. Yeah, it does.
Mm-hmm. Kind of game. Looks cool. Coming out on all platforms. Not a Switch 2 exclusive. One to watch out for. I never really got into Turok as a kid, but this game looks kind of interesting.
No, I didn't either. Yeah, looks all right. Up next, we got Kyoto Xanadu, summer 2026. It is a action RPG. I see the word students, and I think of Persona. Yeah.
This was a weird one.
Yeah, this was a weird one.
We got like an anime style like intro to the trailer, and then it went to a 2D Metroidvania, then it went to a third-person hack and slash, and then it went to the Persona like text message go to school thing, and then it kept bouncing around. There's a lot of shit going on with this one, so I don't really know what to expect, but looks interesting.
Yeah, I couldn't quite figure out what gameplay style they were going for in that one, but looks like a little bit of everything.
Yep.
Digimon Story Time Stranger, July 10th, 2026. Cam actually had mentioned that after some people weren't super happy with the latest Pokemon games, a lot of them bounced over to this game, and apparently it was very well received. So sounds like something I might even check out.
Yeah, this game did very well in modern console. I mean, very well to Digimon's standard. But a lot of lapsed Pokemon players went to Digimon and had a great time with this. The reception was very positive. Cool. So it looks really cool. It's not gone on sale yet. As I mentioned in the Direct, I'm waiting kind of for a sale on this one just because I'm probably not going to be able to beat it. So I do want to play it. I'm just kind of waiting for it to drop a little bit in price, but game looks fun.
Cool. Yeah, I might check that one out. What do we got next? Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, July 9th. This one didn't even, I don't even remember this one, so it must not have stood out. Did anything. An RPG where you play as a group of friends. Yeah, I don't have much on that one.
Yeah, me either.
Said the video is not available.
Yeah, I see that. Whatever.
Yep. Up next, Monster Hunter Stories 3, Twisted Reflections. March 13th, 26, so not too far away. This is the latest entry in the Monster Hunter Stories series. I jumped into Monster Hunter Stories, the remake on Switch, and didn't check out this. This actually looked cool. I mean, the art style looked great. The first one was very, very simple. Second one got a little bit more interesting looking. This one looks like it's even, more graphically impressive than the first two. So there is a demo for this one. I did not check it out yet, but I heard some conflicting things on this. I guess there's a performance in a graphics mode in this as well. So graphics obviously 30, performance is 60, but I heard there's a massive difference between the two. So
Ooh, okay.
I don't know. Hopefully they get that ironed out a little bit better.
Yep.
So
I got nothing. I don't play Monster Hunter.
Yeah, no. Let's see. Console Archives and Arcade Archives 2. Today and Beyond. What is this? I don't remember.
Yeah, it was really weird little showcase.
This is yeah. So when we talked about this, it almost, or when we watched it, it almost looked like they were doing some sort of like a new, like, because the Switch and Switch 2 have it's basically an app where you go in to play like your SNES games, your Nintendo games, your GameCube games. It almost sounded like there was going to be another one called Console Archives, but that doesn't seem to be the case. They're just releasing them, game by game. So this is where you can get
Rave Racer and
Doraemon.
And yeah.
Doraemon, Sonic Wings Special, Cool Borders is available, and Ninja Gaiden 2, The Dark Sword. They were released as the first two games out of this Console Archives thing, and they released the day of this this direct. So
sweet.
Yeah.
Yep. Sweet.
And then there's just a few other things. They did like a sizzle reel with just a bunch of games kind of thrown in. In that they included Scott Pilgrim EX, another Eden Begins, Reanimal, the new WWE game, Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown, Disney Dreamlight Valley, the Switch 2 version, the new PGA Tour, 2K26, Culdcept Begins.
That game actually looked kind of cool.
Simulator 3.
Culdcept looked kind of cool.
Which one was that again?
Like a card battler kind of, but it had a really stylized art style. I just caught glimpses. I can't say much more than that.
Okay.
It just looked cool.
Yeah, I don't remember. Goat Simulator 3. We need to stop with those games.
Damn right.
Shadow Tactics, Blades of Shogun, and the latest Tales game, Tales of Arise Beyond the Dawn. And then they jump back into the real game, the Meteor games. Talked about Resident Evil Requiem. We kind of covered that a little bit. And they're also releasing 7 and 8.
Yep. 7 and Village.
7 Village. Yep. So I don't know. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, we had a whole dedicated video on YouTube if you want a deep conversation on that. We basically, Too Long Didn't Watch version. We don't know how these are releasing, and though they're releasing on the same day, they may be bundled. You may get a little bit of maybe a big discount. We don't know what's coming yet, so we got to kind of wait and see till this comes out to know what we're getting there.
Yeah, we touched on it. Price wise, just some things that I had heard, but I don't think anything had been officially announced about those prices. So, and then they ended with a little Bethesda section. So, we already knew that Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition was coming to the Switch 2, and we also knew about the Indiana Jones game that came out last year, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Those are going to be available on Switch 2 sometime this year, supposedly. But the one that that I hadn't heard about yet was the Oblivion remaster that came out. Was that last year on?
Yeah. I believe so.
Okay, so yeah, and I started playing that right away. I loved Oblivion. I put so many hours in that game. But yeah, the remaster version is also coming out on the Switch too. So thought that was pretty cool. And that was basically all they touched on.
Yeah, it was. So, as we mentioned, it was a rapid fire discussion basically during that thing. It was hard to really take it in, but still cool. I mean, they just need to do these, so I'm happy they did it. It's just it was rapid, but yeah.
Yep.
Nothing like massive, but that's just me.
No, nothing really jumped out that was like holy shit, But that's those partner directs, a lot of stuff you've seen on other consoles. So nothing crazy in that one. So last week we talked about I was kind of pissed off about the The Dispatch 2, the Switch 2 version, having all this, censorship, and that you basically couldn't turn off. So there's big black boxes over anything they don't want you to see. So
Mm-hmm.
I threw this article in here because it makes no goddamn sense. So it sounds like no one is taking any sort of blame or responsibility for there being this the censorship in this version of the games. Because at first, Nintendo was like, reach out to AdHoc, the developers, because they made the decision to do this. Now, the developer AdHoc is admitting that people have a right to be pissed about the Switch 2 launch. So let me jump into this real quick because some of the stuff that they say is it's like, well, whose decision was it then?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't sound like either one of you made this game be edited. So Fallout continues from Dispatch launching in a censored state on the Switch and Switch 2 last week. While developer AdHoc Studios initially implied the issue was because of the platform holder, Nintendo responded that it does not make changes to partner content. Now, AdHoc is admitting that people have the right to be pissed and is hoping to release an update for the game to address at least some of these censored content. So there's like a nudity filter and then there's a language filter. Now, the language filter you can turn on and off on the Switch 2 version so they can cuss and whatever, but anything that's like nudity related or even the middle finger, big black box over everything. It's so intrusive. It's pretty bad. So,
Yeah.
and I even mentioned this next part. They talk about how Cyberpunk 2077 released completely as it was on all the consoles, with dicks and whatnot. You
Mm-hmm.
can see a little bit of everything. So,
Yep.
Can you make any sense out of this?
Yeah. My only thought is it sounds to me like a miscommunication, and it sounds what I believe happened, and this is purely hypothetical, is that these developers have a rep for the console that they work with, right? Basically, like a manager of whatever. I don't know what the exact title would be. I think what happened is that the Nintendo rep working with AdHoc probably told them they needed to censor it. And so AdHoc made adjustments and they released it based on the feedback that they got. So it could have been as simple as the employee didn't know what the new standards that Nintendo has been pushing are and gave them bad information. So now Nintendo's using their corporate stance as we don't censor third-party content because that's their current stance, and AdHoc kind of got bad information, and AdHoc is kind of trying to not push blame back on Nintendo despite the fact that they got some difference of information, essentially. So that's what I think most likely happened here, because I don't think that AdHoc would just straight up release an incredibly overly censored version of the game. I think they got that information from somewhere, but they're doing the novel thing and not throwing that employee under the bus, and that's why we are where we are. That's my thought. That could be way wrong, but that's about the only thing I can think of that would make sense for all of the backpedaling on both sides and things like that. So
and you could be right, but we shouldn't have this type of miscommunication in this business. As far as like that's a simple even if the employee said that maybe they didn't get the information corrected that says actually we're not doing that, but at some point before the final release of this, I feel like they should have had one more meeting, like, okay, is it ready? Okay, so what did you do? And like, well, we censored it like you said, and then Nintendo's like, well, we didn't say to do that. Like, there should have been more conversation about how this game is going to get released, even if it was a miscommunication to begin with. I just, this all seems so stupid.
It is. It's just a bad deal. I feel for both sides. I mean, Nintendo's trying to do their best to open up the platform, which is good. And I think Ad Hoc made a great game that's getting dumpstered by this controversy, rightfully so, but I'm not sure I can put all the blame on them. So it's a weird situation.
No.
And again, I don't know. I mean, Ad Hoc has said things like, you know, they had to censor it due to Nintendo. They've made like a kind of a comment beating around the bush with that. And then they said that because of the censorship, they tried to add it in the description, but it was put in the worst possible spot that it could have been, so it was misleading. I don't know. It just seems like a lot of... to me, all of that reads a miscommunication in the chain of command somewhere, and that's why we're in the spot that we're in. So, I don't know. That's my justification on it. I just want people to not discount this game on the Switch 2 because of all the controversy. I'm sure it'll get patched. I'm sure it'll get fixed. And then I think you absolutely should play the game. I've heard nothing but positive things about it. It's just an ugly mess at the end of the day.
I fully agree. And, you know, some people say that this is a fully competent version. You know, what black boxes or not, the game is still the same and it plays the same. So you're still going to enjoy it. I just have this thing with censorship. I have ever since I was a kid. I don't like it.
I don't either.
If somebody wants to put something out in that, I mean, I'm the same way with music. Like if I hear like an edited version of a song, like on my playlist, I'm like, oh, I added the wrong one. I will go in and remove it. It's has nothing to do with wanting to hear those things. That are
I
bad
agree.
Words. I could care less. It's just I keep it the way it was
designed.
Designed and intended to go out. So
I mean,
that's why I keep touching on this.
I'm with you. I think some people could view this as like, oh, this guy's being fucking a stickler for no reason because of censorship. But it's like censorship. If you censor language, it takes impact out of scenes a lot of times. Same thing with music. It breaks the flow of the choruses and the verses if they have to cut out a word. So kind of the same situation. And then like you said before, you're not a fucking gooner, so you're not like, you don't need to see animated titties, but that's how it was designed. It should be presented that way. That's what the devs wanted. They should be able to release their project however they intended it to be released. Period. End of story. It's definitely a valid stance to take to boycott the game until it's fixed. I think I would do the exact same thing. So nothing wrong with your take, your opinion on it. I think it's very justified. I just hope that it doesn't ruin this game's reputation long term for the console. And it probably already has, but.
Right. And this is another thing about this article is this is the first time we're hearing anything about that they're working on it. They're working to rectify it. So that's a positive coming out of this. You know, if both sides were in agreement that the censorship shouldn't have been in there, should be an easy enough fix to go in, you know, remove it, at least add that toggle back in that you can censor it if you want to, or turn it off if you don't. And like you said, this has nothing to do with animated nudity. I couldn't care less. That stuff doesn't do anything for me. It's not like I need to see that, but like if this game was made without showing any of that, it was just like implied or whatever, wouldn't have made any difference to me whatsoever, whether I saw that stuff or not. But the fact that it was made in a certain way and then got censored, that's where I have a problem.
Yeah, I mean, you have to let creators be creative. You start censoring things, stuff all in general starts getting muted. This has been a topic of conversation since MK fucking way back in the 90s. So it's not worth diving into again, but it is a valid stance. I just want you to know you're valid in your take.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with like I still remember this when I was much younger, and Tipper Gore, Al Gore's wife, was the first one to pass a bill to put a parental advisory sticker on, albums and stuff. And I was like, you bitch. Like, I don't know. I've always had this thing with music and anything that just like, let it be. I love just as many albums that have absolutely no cursing on them at all, as well as I do the ones that the artists, that's how they feel like they need to express themselves. And I'm all for it. I just don't like censorship.
No, I don't either. I mean, there's a place for ESRB. There's a place for those warning stickers, in my opinion.
Right.
Just if you're uneducated, that way you can control what your children have access to. That makes sense to me. However,
for sure,
the nice thing about ESRB is if you are young, you go into a game store, you grab a game that's over your age. If you have a parental consent, you can still purchase the product. That's on the parent to decide what their children should be able and should not be able to consume. My parents were kind of anti-censorship as well. I never had problems. If I wanted a mature game when I was younger, they had no issue with it. That all makes sense. So I'm not against that. I just, no. It is bullshit. I agree.
And that's the whole point of this, the ESRB, is to put these things on these games. You know, the mature label for this game. I mean, this game is still labeled mature, even with the censorship. So it's not like, you know, if you're a parent that cares about this stuff, it tells you, you know, I heard an argument that somebody said, like, well, what if a mom goes and, oh, this looks like a cool like a superhero cartoon that my kid can play. Read the, you know, the rating on it. It says mature, and it says violence, language, nudity. It says all that stuff. So, you know, I don't know, like that whole argument with a parent going, oh, my kid just saw a nipple and I'm going to be irate about it. It's like, well, it tells you that stuff's in there.
Yep. And
anyway,
ESRB's been around long enough to know that people know they need to look at it. So that's not an excuse.
Sure. Yeah.
Anyways, yep. That covers that.
Moving on.
Yeah.
So just real quick, last little bit of Nintendo news. I found this article that says 80 of Japan's 100 best-selling games last year, so 2025, were on the Switch or the Switch 2. I guess that's not super surprising because it's a Japanese manufacturer.
Yep.
That's in Japan. But I just thought this was cool because I'm like, hey, Japan knows their shit.
Yeah.
They know what the good games are. So it just says Nintendo's dominance in Japan really knows no bounds. 2 weeks ago, Japanese magazine Famitsu released its findings on the top 10 best-selling physical games in the country of 2025, with Nintendo Switch and Switch 2 taking up 7 of those top 10 spots. So, yeah, I don't really know if we need to dive into all these games. It's just basically saying that, you know, even with the likes of the PlayStation 5, you know, also being a Japanese, you know, manufacturer, PS5 obviously more popular around the world than, well, I don't even know if I'd say it's more popular than the Switch, but you know what I'm getting at. Like, just because it is manufactured in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm trying to say that. But yeah, basically 41 of the top 50 come from Nintendo, with Monster Hunter, Ghost of Yotei, Dragon's Quest 1 and 2 HD remake. Basically the games that aren't available on the Switch 2 were the 9 that weren't in the top 50. So
yeah, cool.
I just thought that was interesting.
Very cool.
So it's basically either you play Switch or you play your PlayStation if you live in Japan,
and
which is totally valid because they don't even acknowledge Xbox over there. So
the next sentence, or the next little paragraph, says no Xbox games made the list. None.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Not even one. Sorry about you.
Not even one. So
yeah.
Switch is killing it over in Japan, sounds like.
Great.
So
I love the Switch. I think it's a great console. Love it. I think that's super dope.
Yep.
That, I think, is the news coverage. Good stuff. More picked through. Not every piece of news this week, so that's good. I'm trying to get better at that.
I hope that's not my fault.
No, definitely not. It needed to be done. It needed to be said.
I like to give shit, but
it needed to be done. It needed
cut
to be
everything
done.
out.
It needed to be done. Absolutely. It was a worthwhile adjustment. We want the show to be focused on the games, not the news. So that's good. Anyways, that's it for the news. We're going to take our last quick break, come back with some questions, and we'll get the hell out of here. So see you guys shortly. right, guys, welcome back to the Spawn Point Podcast. We're going to wrap the show up here with our community section. Crickets this week, so that's all right. Just we're going to go ahead and ask each other a question, and then we'll get out of here. If you guys want to reach out to us, of course, feel free to do that. YouTube, Spotify, email us at spawnpointnetwork@outlook.com. spawnpointnetwork@outlook.com. You can get us there as well. Social medias, all that good stuff. We would love to hear from you guys. We need comments, concerns, criticisms, all the fun stuff, just to help us continue to make the show better for you guys.
Please.
And of course, join the Discord and all that fun stuff. Link on YouTube. All right, so let's dive into this. Jason, I had a question for you. First, the question that I had is: do you think there will ever come a time with the success of the original Nintendo Switch that they ever go only like? Will they ever release only Switch 2 games? Will the Switch ever dry out?
Well, that's tough to say. The Switch is going to be different than a lot of the other consoles out there because of the huge install base that they have already on the Switch 1. Granted, we talked about how the Switch 2 is the fastest selling console of all times. That doesn't mean the most amount of consoles. So the Switch has like 125 million units out there.
Yep.
Huge. So we are getting into that crossover now, where we've got games releasing on Switch 1 and on Switch 2. That there's a Switch 2 version sometimes, and then sometimes it's just the games are only coming out on Switch, and then it plays also on the Switch 2. So I usually looked at this kind of stuff with like it give or take, but there kind of seems to be like about a 3-year-ish window after a new console comes out, where the first year you still see a lot of Switch 1 stuff coming out as well as Switch 2. It kind of moves in to like the second year-ish where you're still getting Switch 1 stuff. I'm saying Switch 1, but I'm just using that as an example.
Reference point.
How like as a reference point for the other systems. So, and then it kind of gets to where developers start wanting to develop stuff on the Switch 2 because they're getting used to how they get made and how the system works as far as developing for it. And then you get into the third year where you still see some stuff here and there, but it's primarily more on the newer system. But yeah, with the Switch, I don't know if there will be a time where nothing's coming out on the Switch 2. But if I had to say something, maybe it might take 3 or 4 years before you stop seeing Switch 1 games.
Yeah, and
released. I could be way off. I don't know.
No, I mean, we kind of talked about this with the episode. Is this question, obviously, I posed this before we started the show, but I mean, we got, you mentioned that dev kits were hard to come by, so that explains a lot of the Switch 1 releases that are still coming out, because the smart move would be to just release it on what the specs for. So that makes sense. But, what happens with this is... Are you concerned we're going to get to a point where, devs are holding back what the Switch 2 can actually do performance-wise because they keep having to port shit to their original Switch? That's where it's where it gets kind of funky. And the Switch being in its position, like you said, the prior console has a massive install base, and the Switch 2 is getting there, but it's certainly not there. So if you're a dev, you're going to want it to be available to be played on both consoles, so you can tap into both markets. But it is going to hinder what they can do. They're not able to really push the console to where it can be pushed because they're trying to develop for the previous console at the same time. So it's just interesting. Every console goes through this. However, it's just very peculiar with the Switch, with how successful the original console was, to see, what the first main one. I guess like Duskbloods isn't going to be a launch on the Switch, right? That's a Switch 2 exclusive.
No, it's Switch 2.
So they are doing some of that stuff. It's just,
I just think some of those bigger titles and stuff will obviously either have a Switch 2 only or a Switch 2 version, as well as a Switch version. So
I mean, if they almost have to with just the
Yeah,
install base, and again, we don't have a killer app on the Switch 2, so that install base is going to take a little while to build up again. You know what I mean? So
for sure.
very
But one
interesting.
of the cool things about the original Switch and even the Switch 2 is it's a big indie machine.
Yep.
There's a lot of indie games and stuff that come out on it, and a lot of that stuff isn't super, graphically demanding or anything like that. So in that case, they're still gonna make those type of games, and those could easily come out on Switch 1 and Switch 2. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I It's gonna be a while, I think, before we stop seeing those Switch 1 games. Look, the last so I looked this up when you asked this question. When I looked and you were asking this question, the last Wii game that came out was in 2020, which
Yeah.
is so hard
Yay.
to imagine, but it did.
Yep.
It did. I
Well,
actually wrote it down. Retro City Rampage, DX, and Just Dance 2020
yep.
were both the last two games to come out on the Wii.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
when did the
that's well, the Wii's an interesting topic. The Wii U fucking
well,
sucked, and the Wii had a
well,
massive.
yeah,
Well, it didn't suck. I actually liked the Wii U, but it didn't sell. That's a fact.
no,
And the Wii had a massive install base, so it's similar to what we have now, except for the Switch 2 is a decent upgrade. So I don't know. It's gonna
yeah,
be a while. I just thought that was interesting, and
no, it is.
yeah,
So the Wii actually came out in November of 2006.
yeah. Oh my god,
So
14
the
years.
fact that I had to look that up. So that's doubling the life cycle of
Yeah,
console releases that we were talking about earlier.
yeah.
So I don't know. Nintendo's in their own world anyway when it comes to
Yep,
this kind of stuff.
they
So
sure
you
are.
never know what they're freaking gonna do.
They're
So
off the Xbox PlayStation cycle. They just kind of do what they want, which they have
right,
every right to. They're doing the right
for
things,
sure.
so
Yeah, yeah.
works for them. No problems.
All right,
All right.
that was good question.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I also have one for you.
Ooh.
So yeah. Besides video games, do you have any other hobbies or interests that you are into?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I'm going to reverse it on you as well because this is a good conversational
Ah, shit.
piece. So, I'll give you an answer. So, I love music, all genres of music. That's kind of my other hobby outside of gaming. My favorite genre is Swedish melodic metalcore, which is very abstract. I understand, but that's like my favorite genre. But I listen to everything except mumble rap. I fucking hate mumble rap. Everything
Oh
else, though,
God.
I can dig. That's really my main hobby outside of gaming. I used to love bowling. I was a big avid bowler. I was a big disc golfer before starting at the post office. But when you work 12-hour days, it's really hard to find the
Yep.
time to go to the bowling alley or to go out and throw some plastic. So those have fallen to the wayside just because I don't have the energy nor the
Plus, you're
time.
you're tired.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
tired at the
Yeah, no
end of
energy,
the
no
day.
time for those things anymore. So those have kind of fallen by the wayside, which sucks, but that's just the way it is. I also, I love content creation. I do a lot of shit
Yeah.
on my personal channel. I do a lot of shit for this show.
Yep.
That stuff is another, I would say that's a hobby outside of gaming. It's all gaming
sure.
related, but it's something that I enjoy doing in my past time as well.
Mhm.
But that's it. I'm a big music head, big metal head, and I fucking
Nice.
basically every free time that I have is dedicated to gaming. So
Right.
kind of a
Yeah.
nerd in that way. But what about you?
Yeah. So you mentioned music. I'm also a huge music nerd. Um, I have been ever since I was a kid. I got my first record player before I was even 10 years old, and it has basically been a huge part of my life ever since I was a kid. I would love to still collect vinyl, but
Yeah,
that shit's expensive. So
yeah,
moving into and I got video games to play. So um but yeah, music is huge. I love all genres. My wife said this once to me, and it's kind of always stuck. She's like, "You love so many different genres, but you're very picky in each one of those
I'm
genres.
the same way,
What you like."
exact same way.
Okay, she'll be like, I'll hear a song, I'll be like, "Oh man, this song's really cool," and she's like, "Yeah, that kind of sounds like this band." I'm like, "Nope, No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
That's totally different.
Yep.
She's like, oh my God, you're just like, I'm really picky
Mm-hmm.
with what I like. And I've been called a hipster in the past. I don't even know what that
I
means,
mean,
but
your
like
Spotify age was like 20 something, so you listen to all the new shit. You're a newbie,
but
new guy.
I listen to new shit and I listen to old shit.
Yep.
You know, I like, I think the whole Spotify age thing was because I'm always looking for new stuff that I
Oh,
like.
yeah.
There's a lot of new shit out there. Most of it's garbage.
Yep.
But I'm always kind of finding those little indie bands and stuff that are coming out with new stuff. I'm very, very indie. I love indie rock, alternative rock, and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, big music nerd. I'm also, um, well, I mean, I've also played in bands ever since I was like 18. I'm not currently in one right now.
You got time. You got a podcast now, buddy.
Yeah, right. So yeah, this is kind of taking the place of being in a band. I'm not a big sports guy. I do like some soccer. I followed it a lot last year, but kind of fell off a little bit this year. But I'm a hardcore F1 fan, so my whole family is. So we're waiting for that season to start. So, which we're gonna have to talk about because those races are on Sunday mornings. So
poop. All right.
I might have to push
We'll
to
push to the afternoon. Ain't no biggie. Ain't no big deal.
And that's my daughter will be done with her Sunday thing by that point anyway. So yeah, we can. But a lot of times they're like I mean, there's one race that's like 6 a.m. our time.
Ooh, that fucking sucks.
And I will be up for watching that. But some of them move to like 8, some of them are 10. Some of the races are on Saturdays anyway. So it won't be obviously every Sunday. You know,
yeah, no,
there's a few races that are week to week, and then there'll be a 2 or 3 week break. So
yep.
It's all going to depend.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of my interest. I'm kind of a movie buff as well, so I like to watch a lot of movies. Used to a lot more when I wouldn't say I was younger, but even in the last, kind of 10 years, I fell off a little bit on watching all the new stuff, but still enjoy a good movie now and then.
Nothing wrong with that. Go back to the music thing.
Sorry, that was kind of long.
No, I'm right there with you. On the music thing, I'm the same way, very picky in the genres that I like because I know what I like, but I'm very, unlike you, I'm very bingey when it comes to music. So I will find an artist, I'll binge the fuck out of that artist, and then and then like I'll be so reluctant. Like I want to dive into them so like laser focused that I won't search for anything else. So I really do take it like I go through phases where I'm like, I'm not looking for new music. I got my shit. I got my like playlist where my hit list right now. Once I start to tire out on my hit list, then I'll explore again. So I don't explore much to find new stuff. But the stuff I like, I just hammer on for months and months and months. But
I love to go in there and just find the new stuff. So I spent, like we talk about, we both work for the post office, and once we leave our office in the morning, we're basically by ourselves for however many hours it takes. So I spend a good maybe half, maybe not quite half my day listening to music, and then the other half I listen to podcasts. So I'm always digging in there. I use both Spotify and YouTube Music because they are different, and they have. I feel like the discover aspect is better on YouTube Music. I'm always finding new stuff on there that I sometimes bring over to playlists on Spotify. Spotify tends to push the hits and stuff.
It does
up, in their playlists and stuff. So YouTube Music is very good for like finding a lot of indies and stuff that they're on Spotify, but you gotta like literally go in and look for them. So
I agree with that.
Yep.
But yeah, that's it. I mean, they fucking games. The games are games. That's the primary for me for sure. But
same here. And they take a lot of time. So
a lot of time. Other than that, I think that is gonna do it for the show. I think we had a nice show. I'm still gonna probably but that was a good episode. That was a fun episode.
Yeah.
Like I said, the gaming stuff this week was probably more standard to what you're gonna see from a normal episode. Jason actually had modern stuff, but I'm always going back to old stuff. I mean, I
will be too.
We don't have an indispensable income either, so there are going to be times where we're going to have to just hit the backlog hard. So is what it is. That's what the whole show is all about. A couple shout outs I want to make here at the end of the show. I want to thank Mary at work, coworker Mary.
Yeah.
She's not a gamer, but consistently tells us that she listens to every episode, and that means the world to us. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Awesome.
Don't know how you tolerate it, but that's great. I appreciate it.
I don't either.
Jordan Van
plays it on double speed.
Yeah, I would hope almost. Jordan Van Sickle talked to me. We actually got him. He bought Ball Pit and has been playing Ball Pit. So he had some questions.
I haven't talked to him much lately.
Yeah, he had some questions on the town aspect of Ball Pit. And he couldn't figure out what he was supposed to do, and I told him that you have to aim your villagers to bounce them off structures, and he's like, "Oh shit, that may change everything." So it was just cool. I'm happy to hear that he's I've never really talked to Van Sickle much. Cool guy, but he didn't know he was a gamer, or maybe he's getting back into it or something. I'm not sure, but he's playing Ball Pit based on what we've talked about, so I thought that was cool.
That's awesome.
Who else?
What are you playing it on? Do you know?
No clue. Didn't even ask that question. Okay. He just answered his gaming question. Sean Kalina, big supporter. I know he listens, so hell yeah.
Yep.
Donated his kidney, so he's had a lot of free time. But
he's a good dude.
Very good dude. Very good dude. So thanks, Sean. What else? Jason, my buddy Jason, not Jason here, Jason, other Jason everywhere, Jason. He was in the Discord. He just asked about Chris Soul as of the recording of this podcast. Said he wasn't going to pay MSRP for it, but it looked cool if it was on Game Pass. And I told him it was $18, which I just learned today, and he's all pumped about it now too. So, cool stuff. Awesome. That's kind of all my shout outs. What else you got, Jason?
You mentioned some of them that I was going to say. That's awesome that Jordan's checking it out.
Yep.
You mentioned Mary, that she's been checking it out, and she's even given us a couple, pointers here and there.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, wow, you really are kind of paying attention.
Yep.
Which I don't, like you said, I don't know how. But yeah, I mean, everyone that's out there that's been giving us little positive feedbacks, we appreciate it. Keep it up. Even criticisms and stuff, we will listen to. We talked about not being able to please everyone, but we can make an adjustment on things if we feel it's necessary. So
absolutely. Yeah. We're in the workman phase of the podcast now. You know what I mean? We're in the
for sure.
We're in the grind portion. All the hype around the office has died down. Like everybody knows we do the show, and if they're going to listen, they're going to listen. If not, they're not. And so we're in the community building phase for sure now. So it's just kind of doing the same thing every week, but we love doing it. It's a lot of fun.
For sure.
So, we're embracing that, but it's just cool. It's been a lot of fun making this show.
Yeah.
I can continue to look forward to it every Sunday. I appreciate you joining me in this venture, Jason. It's been a lot of fun. Just having a buddy to just rattle shit off about that I can't talk to anyone else about. So it's been very cool.
Yep.
I do appreciate
that's one of the highlights for me too.
Appreciate the hell out of you too for doing all that you do for the show. So absolutely incredible.
I do what I can, I guess.
Do a great job. It's been a lot of fun. Other than that, that's it, man. I think we should call it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I think we should as well.
Let's get out of here.
So let's get out of here. Thanks everybody for sticking around and giving us a chance to talk some video game nerdness to you. This has been episode 5. We'll be back for episode 6 next week. 7 the next week. We're gonna keep plugging these out for you guys. So
goddamn,
stick around. We got a lot more fun stuff coming up.
Of course, games will never end. They'll always keep coming.
Sure will.
All right, keep on gaming, guys. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks, guys.